All right, ready, Potion?
I'm ready. I'm recording.
Hello at the beginning of the thing before I actually start. Hello and welcome to episode 34 of Nerds and Words. I'll be your host today. It's Malin1337. Today we have a very special podcast because we have a rare guest with us, Blonde Bear. Welcome back to the podcast, my friend.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
And then, as always, we're joined with Moreland TV, the man who can never say yes.
Correct.
And Potion Shop, who was born upside down but lives right side up.
This is true half the time.
We've got a little bit of content for you. We're going to start with some BDO stuff. Currently happening right now is the official PA. They're just saying hello. So that's basically our patch notes for the week. But there's still a lot going on. We got some updates with Node Wars and stuff like that. So as we normally start, I think we'll ask our guest first to talk about what happened this week or what you've been up to since the last time we've seen you, or how you've been enjoying the game in real life and all that stuff.
Basically this week, I mean, it's actually been going on for more than a month and a half now. I've been exclusively grinding Paddocks Island, which is the duo pirate spot south of the original pirate island. Back then, everybody used to grind for stuff back at like level 59, 60, 61. I'm currently grinding for a merchant ring piece because I got the piece from Sakraya. And so, yeah, I've just kind of been there for like the last month and a half, just grinding there. I figured for the year of 2021, I want to make my main goal getting the merchant ring, since they made a grindable option and other alternatives. And even though it seems like super absurd, I just thought it'd be fun since I'm kind of at the end of the game where I'm like, I've met all my goals and just something I kind of want to achieve.
You actually got a piece already, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. I got the Sakraya piece. Yep.
And for people who don't know, what is this item that you're going for?
The merchant ring piece is you get 5 pieces. Originally, it came out with Valencia. When Valencia originally came out, you would you'd have to do 4 different trade routes specifically from the trade routes to Valencia with specific items, and then you need to kill a desert trader and get a rare drop, and you'd have 5 pieces of the merchant ring. Combine that with a bunch of other materials, and you can get a merchant ring, which originally, I guess, helped your pre-order status, like back when we had to bid and then buy, it would like help your like order or something like that, right? But now it's you get like 5 pieces from any of the, like each piece has like 3 alternative modes, and you get it together. Now it's just basically 5% tax evasion.
I like the sound of that.
The original one never actually existed, though. It was impossibly hard to get. It was like 100 years of trading or something. So no one ever actually put it together.
65 years of nonstop trading was the average for someone to make it, is what people mathed it out to be, which is so ridiculous. Like, really
that's awesome.
ridiculous.
So how do you think you'll be able to get it like this year?
It depends, right? So some of the pieces are really rare, some of the pieces are really common. The more common ones are like obviously Crypt. Crypt is a very, very easy one to drop. It's got one of the higher drop rates, and it drops from a majority of the mobs. You've got Owens and Ash Forest, which have pretty good drop rates. The Ash one drops a lot for a lot of people. I mean, I know people with duplicates of Ash Forest.
Oh.
The hardest parts, the hardest dropping ones, which have the lowest drop rate, is Sakraya and Paddocks. And so I said, I'll just grind Sakraya, and if I get the Sakraya piece, then I will go for Paddocks, and I won't leave Paddocks until I get it. And so I got Sakraya like literally at the end of 2020, and I was like, well, I guess I'm stuck at Paddocks. So I've been solo grinding here, and occasionally I get a partner that'll come and do it with me, but it's definitely not the best spot to grind money on, and definitely not the funnest spot to be in.
How much money is it?
Yeah.
At Paddocks, I don't know, it's like 100 to 150. It was closer to 200, but if you have a tag character, you can't do anything with the coins. You have to delete them because you get a lot of coins. And the price of the accessory went from like 220 mil all the way down to, someone nuked it down to like 90 mil. So not really making too much money right now. So I'm just saving everything and holding on to it. We'll see.
That's a labor of love, huh? You really want that.
Yeah, I figured, again, like, I'm not in a rush, like, because I'm scared to hit full pen accessories, full pen everything, right? I have this, like, I don't know, this feeling that, like, if I hit this full gear game end thing, I don't know what I'm going to do. Even though I keep coming up with things to do, I'm scared that I might not come up with something to do and get bored of the game, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm trying to maybe stall or delay my income by doing paddocks, extending my year of grinding while also still making kind of a lot of money and doing stuff.
There's always Caffers 20, right?
Yeah, but I feel like with like Fallen God, Caffers are gonna go like Caffers were like high in the market, and then they got low, and they got high again, then they got sold out with Fallen God. And now they're introducing so many methods between the new Node War system, boosting the amount of Caffers into the economy, and constantly handing them out given events. I feel like Caffers are literally gonna get to a point where they're less than 2 mil a piece, and it's gonna be a very frequent thing because pretty sure Doom drops a lot of them from what I've been told, and a lot of other spots are gonna just have insane CAFR rates, which I don't think is the solution, but I have a weird perspective on CAFRs. So,
do you think that there's a growing portion of players who are getting to that point where they're practically hard capped, like people who have been going hardcore for the last couple of years?
100%. It's happening, and luckily you have players like that have hit it, like Biohack, who are just doing his daily thing because he loves doing it, which is awesome. And other players you have that just sign in. They just sign in to fight and do an RBF and log out because there's just better games to play. Which sucks because the game should have a lot of fun PvP modes that you should be able to do and interact in and stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah, man, isn't that the truth? If you actually had something that you could use your gear on besides just grinding for more gear, how rewarding would that be? You would be motivated constantly to play the game, even if you were capped or close to capped.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It's insane to me that this game is like got some of the best like fighting PvP mechanics, and we can't get like a capture the flag or like a capture the point or anything that's in any other non-main PvP game. It's super weird. I feel like they try to constantly push the narrative away from being like every other game, and they want to be their own game, which is fine, but there are successful methods in other games.
Right? Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Well, it's not like RBF is particularly unique either. I mean, it's a team deathmatch with no matchmaking or balancing or anything whatsoever. It's just very, very low effort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, didn't they even in Warsong Gulch at some point they balanced like how many healers, tanks, and DPS you can have in a 10v10 Warsong Gulch because it got so weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's frustrating, but I don't know.
Bring
I think that's where a lot of
back.
Shut up.
That would be nice. It'd be something to do. Just anything. Like the new 10v10 mode they've got coming sounds awesome. If they did like 1v1 3v3s, that'd be super fun. Just even with class imbalance. They've mentioned multiple times now that they don't mind just making all the classes bonkers and not balancing anything. Like they keep talking about how they don't want to nerf things, they just want to buff things. And if that's the case, then buff everything to like crazy mode and just like have everybody have fun with it, right?
Yeah, but still nerf Wizard, please.
Still nerf Wizard, of course. Yeah. Gotta make it fair.
I think that's a smart way to play though. Like I think that's where the people who are most successful at this game kind of like find these little, grinding for the costume, or, maybe taking a break and just doing the potion piece, away from kind of the rat race gear grind, siege guild, all that kind of stuff, because that gets really old really quick, and the community doesn't do a really good job of making it fun either, right? Like we've talked about that quite a few times in this podcast, but I like that. I didn't know much about the new Rich Merchant ring, and I've been doing a lot of Sakurai lately, so maybe I'll stay here until I get the piece too.
It drops from the Elmer Mole in Abyssal, and then on the top side it drops from the Lycan.
Oh, okay. So you can even get it from the top, huh?
That's where I got mine.
There's not a lot of those Elmer moles on the main rotation.
No, you have to go to Snatchu and you have to like make a specific extra pull to do 4 within a 4 rotation, because otherwise it's gonna be tough. That's the best way to do it from what I've tried.
I love main rotation, man. I just want to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
I've been down there for so long that it is impressive to me that it drops down there at all, because some people are down there that you would think you would hear more stories of it, but you hardly ever hear anybody getting it.
It's the rarest one. It's got, from what I've been told, is less than half the drop rate of a Elton piece.
Wow. So
How
getting
many
that,
secret songs
Just a
did we
reminder, Big and Shiny still doesn't have the Ultimate Piece, right?
3, 4, 5 years later.
get? Neither does Kinjara. Kinjara's been hard on it for
For
3 or 4
years.
years.
God,
With
dude.
castle and on castle, off castle. Yeah.
I don't think Joe has it either, does he?
He actually just recently got his.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Good for him.
I'm
Kugels,
gonna catch up to Big and Shiny and level at some point. Like that's how weird this has gotten.
yeah. Kugels is also going for hers. She's an EU streamer. She's been living there for the last 2
Oh well,
years.
she'll get it in like 15 minutes tops.
Yeah.
No.
She didn't get it on her first
No,
month.
she's
that's
got-
her one curse. That's her only curse.
Yeah.
Is not getting the
I-
there. She's gotten everything else.
she has
What a
over
good
1,000
trade.
hours in there, don't she?
Yeah. She's got probably 2, 3. Oh.
She said some crazy
She probably
statistic the other
dropped
day.
it, put it on an alt, forgot she had it.
I don't know. I mean, she's been incredibly lucky. Just that's the one thing, right? You know, that would be it.
Potion, how was your week, bud? What you been up to?
Week's been pretty good. I got C6 in my gloves today, so that was my claim to fame. I also finished my Agris journal finally. Did my family fame or family inventory, and figured out how that worked. So I've got that's what I've been up to this week in BDO. Just been kind of casual with it. Just kind of getting back into the grind a little bit. Looking to start pushing towards C9 in the next couple weeks.
Well, I actually yesterday off stream finished my grind to C9, so I am all C9 armor.
Nice.
With a C19 heave helmet, which I guess is C9. I've been down in Sakraya with an absolutely cracked fucking drop rate. I've been getting I get a Tungrad ring almost every hour. Like if I grind for if I grind for 6 hours, I get 5 Tungrad rings. So it's been pretty hard not to play this game and not to grind in Sakraya, quite frankly, because it's just been fun.
Doesn't it feel like that happens sometimes where like you just are on a streak and it just keeps going and you're just like, okay, I'm gonna keep playing, I guess. I don't want to take a break.
Yeah, like I kept wanting
streak,
to, I was gonna swap to Star Wars Galaxies, but I kept getting paid, so I'm just like, all right, I'll keep grinding, no worries. And so, the money came through. I'm having a really tough time with, and maybe that's a conversation we can have for a little bit. Life skills are in such a terrible spot, and I know, like, we bring up the potion or the inability to buy more energy, but like I used to really enjoy life skills, and I know there's like a couple of streamers and stuff that still do life skills like all day, and that's all they do. But I can't wrap my head around that. Like the money is so bad, and it's such an inconvenient thing to do. Like I really like being diversified in this game, but how far behind life skills have gotten towards grinding makes it damn near impossible for me to even consider like just re-upping my Guru boxes. I'm just gonna start buying meals, packaging them up, and turning them in for like 100 mil profit instead of 200 or whatever.
Yeah, that's what most people told me that they just do now. They don't even actively push for it, and they're gonna be buffing grinding with Hadoom, and they're gonna be buffing it with the costs of crons too. The costumes they're double buffed in KR right now.
So apparently the Hadoom is like really good profit for. That's like an upcoming update to BDO. It's like a remaster Syrindia. I'm really curious. Do you think that's actually intentional for it to be like 400 mil an hour or whatever it is?
I don't know.
Probably.
I have been told rumors. I haven't seen a spreadsheet. I haven't seen data. I haven't seen anything. I've just every time I ask, they say, "Oh yeah." Some people are saying like 300 to 400 mil. Then some people like that I watch are like, "Yeah, I made 250 mil that hour," and I'm like, "Okay, well, 250 mil is not 300 to 400." So
right.
Tell me what it is, because like, where's the money coming from? Like, is it raw silver? Is it value of the item itself, and not necessarily raw silver? Like, I haven't seen any raw information. This is just
I went and tested it on Global Lab and was pulling about 400, like full maxed everything gear, not knowing what I was doing on a Zerker, mind you. So I mean, I figured that they had rebalanced it because half the grind spots when it was on Global Lab didn't even have loot. Before they released it in Korea. So I'm really surprised that they didn't rebalance that, if that's the case. Because that seems kind of insane for like a 270, 260, 280 AP grind spot.
You said you were pulling 400 mil there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it gives you a ton of BMCs. But that they on Global Lab they hadn't finished the update yet, and then they pulled it from Global Lab, and then they basically said, yeah, we're going to release this on Korea, but it wasn't even done. So I assumed that they were going to continue balancing it, right? And it wasn't going to be finished.
These guys do, man. That's so weird. What a weird way to develop an MMO.
So I don't know. That could be part of it. Is because when I tested it, I was testing the only two spots you could grind on Global Lab when it was up there was the Swamp Nagas and Swamp Vogons. Those are the only two spots that were grindable, and majority of money came from BMCs and it came from Caphras. That was the majority of the money.
Price Caphras incoming.
Well, is KR still sold out on Caphras? Like, are they still? There's like none of them.
Yeah, they're still sold out on Caphras.
Because if they're, I mean,
Are
they're
they really?
making money
That's
making
shocking to
Caphras.
me.
Right? Same. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, dude, like with the node war changes and everything, and it's like, well, every time I talk about KR to some people, like they tell me, well, like KR doesn't have a population, nobody plays, so they don't have any Garmos hearts, and that's why they have to add the Garmos questline, right? And that's why they wanted to add Black's armor.
They definitely have
grinding
population over there.
Well, that's what doesn't make any sense then, right? Why is there nothing sitting in their market? Why are there no like Garmos hearts sitting? Like, or is just enough of the population at the end of the game where that's all they can buy, and they're just sitting on piles of silver on pre-orders, or like
I mean, that doesn't make any sense. If there was low population, then there'd be low demand for Garmoths as well. Like having a lower pop doesn't mean that you have less Garmoths. It means you have like lower people doing Garmoth is how you get less Garmoth.
Well, it's a terrible boss, so.
It wouldn't surprise me if KR has very little life skill population. They've never really been that big into it, which I think is why the developers largely have neglected life skills over the years.
Is that why they got Manos a year and a half before us?
Yeah, but I mean, I think the year and a half delay in Manos just demonstrates how low of a priority it is, right? They were kind of like, we'll get to it when we get to it. Like, they never saw that as essential content, even though that's how I think a lot of NAEU viewed it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it's a low priority for life skilling for them.
It's so weird how this game goes in a cycle. It seems, like they're trying to make grinding and that more interesting, and they just went through life skills like a year ago or something, and now life skills are so off the board that they really need another look at, and then PvP and Siege has been neglected for over 2 years, so they're trying to look at that. They've just got so much on their plate with this fucking game, man.
Yeah, and I don't know. It feels like they're trying to make an effort, but I just don't know if it's part of that wave where like they go from like we feel like nothing's really happening and the ball isn't rolling because we're just getting delayed, or if this is like the start of the wave where it's like, hey, they're actually doing something, and then all year gets delayed and we don't see anything until 2022. It's like I hope that's not the illusion I'm falling for. I hope this is like, hey, real content coming, no joke. This is real. Alert!
We've seen a lot in the global labs. Thornwood, hangs right there with me, and some of these like riffs that are supposed to come up in Arsha. That sounds pretty cool too. There's stuff around the corner. That's what's motivating me. It's a kind of a hollow motivation, but I just got C9. Now I'm going to get my Tri-Dead God. I'm going to be, the 660 gear score or something like that, and going to keep pushing, probably be 670 or 680 by the time some meaningful PvP content comes out. But, kind of being cracked for that stuff will be fun, I think.
Did you guys see the statement they put out on the 2% main hand weapons? I feel like it's such a perfect view into how this game is developed and the source of all the problems that we're describing right now.
Yeah.
What is it? Go through the whole thing?
Oh, dude, it's hard to even begin. So there's so many different things in there. So I read this right when it came out, so I didn't have the Foundry version. I just had the Google Translated version.
Oh my God.
It was basically something along the lines of, we accidentally put 2% on this weapon, and every department in the company simultaneously failed to notice.
Yeah, so they actually
we're gonna go through and recheck every item in the game, and then they actually have a chart of all the items they checked that are also bugged, it turns out there's a whole list of items like callus necklaces and shit that don't work, that like people haven't noticed because no one uses that gear, but apparently it's just been broken for 5 years. And then they're talking about how like they're just now making the decision to tie the stats of the item to the tooltip. So we talked before about how like everything is separate, right? Like your AP and your DP that you see on your character sheet are not actually your character's stats. They're two things that don't talk to each other. And it's the same thing with items. The item doesn't actually talk to the tooltip. Like the stats you get on the item and the tooltip are just two separate databases. And so they finally said that they're going to actually unite those things so that when you look at an item's tooltip, it is literally checking the item to see what stats are on the item, and that's what it's going to be telling you.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So about time.
What is this 2% thing? I don't.
So basically, they accidentally added 2% crit damage to Blackstar, and they realized this because players apparently tested it on Global Lab and reported it to them. So they did they took it on the Global Lab for like 18 hours and tested it, and confirmed that not only that has problems, but all their problems are more listed. And their solution to this is instead of removing it, they're going to actually add Zarka and Offentet are going to get 2% critical damage now.
Which I don't know. I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
Yeah, it's very weird. Just take the 2% away. No one cares. It's not going to affect your trash per hour. Like,
give me the 2%. Yo, it's a black star. I can't put Kafirs in this bad boy. I have to like enhance it on a high stat.
Exactly. Just keep it on Black Star as a slight bonus. Like,
right? It already feels bad to go Black Star.
2% crit damage is less than 1% of an actual DPS increase. Like, it's not breaking the game.
I think that also really says how much they despise the idea of admitting they made a mistake, to the point where they're willing to like buff.
Pretend like they didn't know.
Yeah.
No, that's not how I read it at all, dude. I thought that like it seemed very apologetic. Maybe the part of this was just like the Korean politeness thing and the translation, but they seemed almost like shocked at their own incompetence when I was reading it. They were like, yeah, we somehow missed it in every single department, and also our QA missed it, and like nobody communicated, and the whole thing's a mess. Like they seem like completely caught off guard by their own failure.
Well, it's like it makes me wonder if it's like, okay, so did the guy that's just making all the items not talk to the guy that puts the stuff on the items and the tooltips, and
Clearly.
did something get mistranslated, or did he just try to sneak it in because he's a Black Star user and he didn't want anybody to?
Well,
know
I actually assume like it's very obvious to like veteran players, right, that Black Star is not intended to be similar to Zarka or Offentet. That it's supposed to be better for in game.
Killing monster.
And so I think this was something that was one of the options they had on the table for making it better, and they opted to not go with it, and then forgot to actually remove the stats.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened.
Well, and then also, if you take a poll from the amount of weapons that are linked in World Chat, a lot of people are using Pen Lavertos, and so I wonder if they're going to put 2% crit damage on Pen Laverto too.
They should.
Pen Laverto's kind of product, dude.
Yeah,
Laverto equality.
Because Laverto was like, it's honestly very comparable to Zarka, aside from the accuracy.
Just a tiny bit of accuracy loss, and it's way cheaper.
Yeah, and who cares about accuracy?
Accuracy isn't
us guys talking. Yeah, who cares?
There's not even a visual improvement from Zarka over Laverto.
Buy a Dawn earring if you really care about that pussy shit, you know?
Right? I mean, everybody's DR anyways, right? I mean, evasion's a meme. So.
Yeah, everybody went DR. That's 100% true.
Okay, we have the English version now. I'm gonna skim it real quick while you guys are talking to try to find some gems.
Oh shit. Borland's the only person who hasn't talked about this week. He played Valheim anyway, so
I got a new video card, and it cost a lot of money, and I think my game's running worse.
You know what you have? Oh, you know what, man? I noticed when I went from a 1080 Ti to a 2080 Ti that lower grade BDO played worse, and then it played a lot better when I went on higher.
I'm on high right now,
and it's playing worse. You think?
I mean, part of it's probably the Discord call, but first of all, there's like this weird. I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like a graininess over everything. Like I have a different filter on or something. I don't know if anyone in my stream can see it or if it's just on my end, but like the game just looks different, and I feel like I'm dropping just as many frames, if not more, during combat than I was before. But that might, like I said, that might be the Discord call.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Yeah, what is the grain in it? Okay, I don't know. We'll figure it out later. But I'm just so. I thought it was gonna turn it on and have like 150 FPS.
You should. There's probably some settings you need to take a look at.
Yeah, I think.
Other than that, I played a shitload of Valheim, about 80 something hours of Valheim since the last.
Watch you building a roof for a very long time.
Dude, I built the sickest roof imaginable in that game.
It's like I want to get into that game, but like Terraria, it's so much better when there's like a lot more content in it. And like I was told, some of my friends beat it in like 5 days, and I guess if you rush it, you can do it in 5 days. But I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, if you play 16 hours a day, you can beat it in 5 days.
It's like I don't want to do it because I want to savor it. Because like when I played Terraria for the first time, when like there was a ton of content out on it, it was probably one of the best games I ever played. It's crazy.
I think you'll feel the same way about Valheim. You can take as much time with it as you want. I mean, we literally spent like 15 hours building that base and had nothing to do with our progression.
Yeah, true. I guess if you choose other things other than just go.
I don't like doing that. Like just sitting around building a roof. That sounds like torture.
Well, don't build a roof then. Build a castle or build a farm or build whatever you want to, or don't build anything and just go progress. I mean, there's so much content in that game, regardless of how you want to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the group of friends that play with Terraria, you have one guy who just loved making houses look specifically like perfect. I had one guy that liked just going up top and doing the dungeon, and then I'm just like someone who likes to dig. Like I dig straight down and then make a bunch of routes and then just go from there.
Dude, I just made a railway cart in Terraria that across the whole map. That was like all I did while everyone else was out fighting.
That's awesome.
I'm looking forward to like what they end up doing with Valheim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got they keep posting on Twitter. Now they got 3 million copies sold. It's like, dude, I hope they start pushing that.
Dude, wow, they were at 2 mil like yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that they were like, oh my gosh, 2 mil. And like recently they were like, oh my gosh, 3 mil. It's like,
good for them, right, dude. Those guys deserve all the success. It's a tiny team. It's like a single-digit team.
Yeah, it plays like it.
You got these small teams that just like make like some just fantastic games and these AAA companies just not doing it.
It's crazy how that works.
I think what it really shows is that it like some of the things that players want out of a game are not crazy complicated, and
True.
Like some of the things that BDO players want is they don't want them to reinvent the entire wheel. They just want some of the basic fundamentals that other games have, like Valheim, in BDO, and it's just like it's the turnaround time. I think is the core problem because. Like Valheim just offers so much. Everything that is in Valheim works properly, and in BDO you can't stay the same. And I don't think you ever has been like that, And some people just want like, hey, I've been wanting to fish for 5 years in BDO, and it's never been great after like the first 6 months,
Could you imagine arcade fishing in BDO with like the pirate system?
Oh, it'd be. I would. It's mouth watering right there.
Man, it's just like a few tweaks here and then. Sorry, go ahead.
No, my bad. I started life skilling in Star Wars, and I'm actually like that's how I spend like all my free time. Like you sit down to play a video game. I have these like weird times in my day. Maybe this is like being a dad thing or something, but I'll have like 15 minutes to do something. And so I'm not going to grind for 15 minutes. I'm not going to cut like 15 minutes in BDO is enough time to get set up to do something for, an hour or two. And so I get I tried cell phone games and all that kind of stuff, but I'm literally just sitting there doing nothing. All the chores are done. And so Star Wars Galaxies has this setup where you just like log onto a character. You don't need any buffs, or you could use food buffs or something. And then you just click, you just click these things together, and then you can make a ton of money, if RNG is on your favor. And there's like 8 different professions, and they're all super needed and viable, and everything has durability, so everything breaks. And I've been having a ton of fun, just remembering what like value in life skilling and crafting, and knowing good crafters and people who keep their supply chains going and stuff like that, so you can get high quality materials to make high quality items. And that's been, I've probably done that for about 15 hours this week in like 15 to 30 minute increments. I just get a couple minutes, I level this, or I make a big craft here or something like that. I've had a lot of fun with that. Like sitting down for 12 hours just doesn't really happen in my life too often. Maybe Saturday streams, and that's about it. So
Yeah,
that's been really cool.
The evolution of games going from like having like a handful of people being specialty crafters and like having one super rare, unique like recipe, going from there to like being like WoW, where it's like, everybody can learn everything, and then like there's one specific best in slot standard build. You're always going to pick that recipe. It's like I don't know if companies just like default to this mode where they're just like, well, I guess we'll just make it all inclusive because people don't want to feel left out. But I miss the exclusivity of like, hey, here's a game where like, you have to choose something and it's still valuable next to the next person, and only you can focus on that specific craft. Like, I feel like that just doesn't really exist too much in games anymore, because
yeah, you got to be able to do everything, or else people get mad.
People get upset. Yeah, people get upset that they either got to make an alt or they just can't do something. Like, it's really frustrating. It's like, I wish games were more specific rather than broad. I feel like it leads to just, I don't know, take the uniqueness out of it.
Well, I think part of that is like the games answer to their shareholders now, and because of that, it ruins, like they have to boil it down to experience that everybody, the masses, can enjoy, right? Which equals more profit.
They answered to its shareholders 20 years ago too.
Well, I mean, back then, like Nintendo, for example, right? They knew that made a good game, and so I think the shareholders that are in control today, I think, are different than the shareholders back then, because who knew gaming was going to be a multi-billion-dollar industry back then, right? Everybody.
Sony did in 1999, and they had shareholders to answer to. They made some great games, but they also ruined some fucking perfect games too.
Yeah,
I get what you're trying to say, but the money is bigger, so there's more influences. But I think that's more on the AAA side than anything else, right? The idiots that buy the new sports game every year, or that are buying the new Call of Duty every year, or every year's Assassin's Creed or something like that. Like, that's the kind of drivel that they just farm all the time. But I think where we see shareholders' problems, in kind of our realm, is like Cyberpunk, right? Like, they had to get it out for the States so it'd be there for the holidays, and it turns out to be a hot piece of fucking trash.
Yep. Absolutely.
Compared to what it should have been, but I digress.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make a strong point, right? If they had actually gone on their own merits, right, they would have lasted a lot longer. But the shareholders wanted their money now, and so hopefully, as shareholders see the examples like that of Cyberpunk, then maybe in the future, we won't see quite this big push. I don't know. One way or another, it's going to fix itself, because either the AAA companies will start getting beaten by indie companies, right? And indie companies will start, coming through on Steam like Valheim, and those games will start taking over more and more. Or we'll see the big AAA companies do like a 180 on their policy eventually, and find like a middle ground.
I don't think so, because I think it's a matter of like talent and imagination, and like. I don't know. When it comes to indie companies out competing AAA companies, like it's because of like freedom. It's because of lack of constraints. I think with the bigger companies, you have a legacy of, well, this is what worked in the past, and therefore this is what we have to do currently. And they just can't really go outside the box to some degree. Both groups have to make money. Like, there's a profit motive for both, indie and big companies. I think it's just a different mindset.
I think AAA games are short order cooks, right? They have a recipe that they have to follow, and they're allowed to put their own personal flair into it, but it's not, they really can't go outside that recipe. And that's what, like, the second time I bought an Assassin's Creed, like, I'll never play an Assassin's Creed ever again. And I know they got away from that formula, but they stuck to it so hard, and it was just so off-putting to me.
I don't know why they just don't call the new game something else other than Assassin's Creed. I feel like they're just slapping the name on just to pretend to continue the story, because the story they have, like, the main character is really cool, and then they offed him and did some other stuff. It's like, why not just call it a history game, or I don't know, come up with some creative name or something. I feel like they're just using the name to carry it, even though these games are good anyways. Like, there's a lot of people that like these games, but like you said, I'm not ever going to play another Assassin's Creed games because I don't know. To me, like it just I don't know.
And then at some point, the games start turning into their own genres, right? Like Dark Souls, and then even like Lara Croft, right? Like Croft style RPGs. You know, people use those types of terms all the time too. It's pretty interesting.
Stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. Like MOBA, is a perfect example of that happening. Of like basically turning into its own MOBA. I mean, into its own genre. For like League of Legends and Dota and all that. And I think that's just proof of it being good. And then basically people just want to keep on printing money until that no longer works, right? Which leaves players with less unique experiences to enjoy.
I think that's basically about to happen right now with Terraria and Valheim. Like Valheim was the thing that is going to blow up that genre into like the next copy and paste battle royale type thing. I think everybody after seeing Valheim is because it's such a simple formula. It's so easy to follow this formula. Like I think there's going to be a bunch of companies that start shitting out these sort of progressive survival games now, and it's probably going to have a different name other than just survival, because survival's too broad. Like it encompasses too many different types of games that aren't quite that like, this Valheim is really like, it's really just a 3D Terraria. Like there's not much else going on besides that. It's actually a pretty straightforward formula.
RPG survival.
Yeah, I don't know, something.
Well, survival's kind of a 4-letter word. I think it's been so abused. They'll use something else, but I've heard Terraria come up like on streamer Twitter and stuff, and Nvidia came out with some kind of patch for it or something. I think Terraria is going to get another. Yeah, is that what it is? What good timing. Holy shit.
There's literally a new mod or something on Terraria where they basically created 2 new game modes for people to play on. Like, and it's like really extensive. Like it's got a whole bunch of extra new stuff, and there's ways to continue the game. I was literally just talking to a friend about it last night because we were talking about Valheim, and it's like a really cool, it's like a called corruption mod where it just does a bunch of stuff to the in-game world. So yeah, it's
because the foundational design is so clean. Like it's so easy to iterate on. That's one of the things that BDO doesn't like. BDO has this mishmash where they don't know what the game is about. They don't know what the game's vision is or what direction to go in. And you take a game like Terraria, it knows exactly what the foundation is. It knows exactly why it's fun, and it can iterate on that in so many different directions, and they all just build off the same foundation, and it works every time.
Well, the BDO is pretty unapologetic about it being either one person or a group of developers like fever dream for an MMO. And so there's like not even the imagination to even name the world of where this place, takes place. We jokingly convinced Potion Shop that it was called Azeroth, but there is no name for it. It's just like, hey, let's make an MMO, which is why I'm nervous for like Ashes of Creation. I think it's going to suffer a lot of the same things that BDO suffers from, just in different clothing, probably. It's just going to look different.
It's going to be hard going from a game that has like before BDO, I could play a game and I would reach a point where I just logged off, and like that happened with any MMO or any video game. I'd find a stopping point, and BDO doesn't really, at least for me, because I love grinding, which is kind of not really a common thing for a lot of people. Like I could grind and grind and grind, and I feel like it's going to be really tough playing other games that don't have a mode where like you just can keep going, right? Like I'm looking at all these other MMOs, and like they've got things that you can do, but like eventually stuff just kind of hard caps out where they're like you're not going to be infinitely just still going in a circle killing mobs, and it's going to be kind of weird, at least for me, from my perspective of like if BDO ever dies and or another game comes out where everybody like swaps to because it's so good, it's going to be weird not having an infinite mode to just make that currency or make that thing, right? Because BDO makes it really valuable to continue doing that, but other games don't, right?
I think other MMOs have the potential to grind your ass off. It's just not incentivized in the same way.
Yeah, not at all.
I think that's why we're seeing some of these older MMOs be a little more popular too, or at least having some sort of life to them. Is that that's where the golden age of the MMO was basically 99 through 2006, maybe 2004, somewhere in that range. And so we've all been waiting for the next MMO, the next MMO, the next MMO, and it really hasn't come. As much as we all enjoy, or we have Stockholm syndrome about BDO, The best MMOs really are in the past. You just got to get past the graphics or the UI or whatever the case was, or you have to find it enjoyable because, like EverQuest grind, it may not be forever unless you have AAs in whatever version you're playing. But dude,
People
those
like the
games used to be
hardcore.
so grindy and so difficult. And they just, when you're in it, you don't realize how much easier these games are actually getting compared to what it was. That's why they call it like Nintendo hard, right? It's the Super Mario World. Pick that shit back up and not throw it through a window. It's insane. It's so hard.
Yeah, a lot of games just do this, like, again, easy mode thing. Like back to the crafting thing. It's like they're just choosing an easy alternative. People are yearning for that uniqueness, the thing that made it hard, or extended gameplay, or just like that harder grind. I feel like not every player's into that, but there is a large majority of people, and that's exactly like you said. They're going back to these older MMOs where they're having more fun doing the harder things because things had value back then. I feel like a lot of games nowadays, I can log into WoW and try to get the newest raid set and get the newest this set and that set, but like someone could hop into LFR, which is an auto queue simulator where you just auto attack a boss and it gives you free loot. Like someone could just queue into that and get the same gear as me and like not even have to try. And like that's super demoralizing to like have some random person just get the same thing, right? Like it's just.
I actually think we have a pretty good model for like what these two different types of games are. You basically have. The problem is there's not a good like name for the type of games we're talking about. You have a good name and a good model already for the type of games that we're trying to move away from. They're basically Skinner boxes, right? They're basically short-term, like punishment reward. It's a dopamine trickle. And that's like farming Paragon levels in Diablo 3. Like a lot of stuff it's not necessarily rewarding, but it's like you get enough of a buzz, you get enough of a little like payoff and a little cookie for what you're doing in close enough increments that it becomes addicting. And it's the same thing with real life, like the difference between doing something because you're addicted to it or doing something because it genuinely like moves you forward in some way that's interesting. Like gaming back then, I think used to be a lot more people using their imagination and thinking like, how can we create a world where people will feel expanded when they're playing the game? Like they'll have to think in new ways and it'll make them more creative. Like there was an imagination and an inspiration behind games back then. And I think they've devolved into the more like Skinner box, dopamine cookie type gameplay because it's simply easier and more addictive to do that. And it's also easier to monetize because then you can do the slot machine and the mobile game, sort of thing where the dopamine drip is then tied to, micro purchases that people are making. So I feel like if people think about this a little more, it's obvious where the problems are, but I think people have just kind of forgotten how to look at it in those terms.
I mean, even like Swotar, right, was, what was that, 2007? 2000, yeah, something like that. That game suffered. I mean, there was a couple different reasons that it suffered, but it was like what everybody wanted. It was a voiceover, bring you through a story of a world that has a lot of context, and then it's got raids and PvP, and that model just fucking suffered right towards the end of it. People just wanted shit that was easier to level up and get to the last part and do their thing. They really didn't want to invest in it. And so they had to go to a free-to-play model, and I think that's the only way that game could possibly survive. And so I think the Swotars, the Star Wars Galaxies, the EverQuest, the Asheron's Call, man, even the Guild Wars 2, I think if they ever got away from that platform or whatever, they'd be, that game would be totally fucked. Like, there's just this last holdout. Like, these games will never exist again, could never exist again, because it's been so brought into this, like, monetized, focused, dopamine hit, cell phone game, RNG box thing.
I don't really mind the dopamine like hits and stuff like that. Like, I think that's fine. I just want there to be some more meaningful progression. Like, and I think Treasure Islands and BDO kind of do that, right? Like, when you get an archaeologist map and you finally get that, you're like, yes, I earned that. And I just kind of want there to be a healthier balance between the two of them. Like, because I recognize that without the dopamine type of cookie here, click it again and get it, monkey. Without that, a lot of these games just can't exist. So I understand it needs to be that, but I want there to be a few more of those hardcore things that are optional. And if you don't want to do them, then you just buy it from the marketplace or whatever. You pay $50 or something, you know. That's why I just want to be a healthier balance so that the games feel better to play or more fulfilling to play. At least for someone who's very cognizant of what they're doing, you know.
The value has to exist.
Yeah.
So to bring it back to BDO for a little bit, if I can, have you done any Node Wars, Borland, with Villainous?
A couple.
What do you think of them?
Of Node Wars or of Villainous?
Well, Blargo's pretty okay, but the Node Wars.
The ones we've had have been trash.
Why is that?
Completely unfun. They're just totally mismatched. It's like we had a fight against Cho, and they obliterated us. There was no chance in hell of getting a good fight. And then we were going to have a 1v1 with another guild that we were a good match with, but Black Rose decided to drop on the nodes, knowing that we had a 1v1, and just kind of ruined it. And so we ripped up and no-showed, and nobody got a fight.
I should have fucking punched Miz.
I mean, we messaged a bunch of Black Rose officers, and they all literally just didn't respond. I messaged Miz myself, and he didn't respond. So, you know, I don't get what the fucking purpose of doing that is. Like, I get that they're bored, but that doesn't mean they have to ruin the game for everyone else too.
Be bully. That's all it is.
It's not even bullet. Like, they're not even getting what they want. Like, they didn't get a fight either. All they did was ruin our fight. Full stop. Like, it's not like they ruined our fight and then got to farm, you know, or something, right? Like, they just ruined it, and that's it. GG.
Wow.
So yeah, that's pretty much been my Node War experience so far. It's just a bunch of siege guilds dropping on T2s.
Ridiculous.
I know you're not like super into PvP, Blonde, but are you still active in Snake and stuff?
Just for Siege. I can't do Node Wars because basically that's the time I'm hanging out with my wife. If they ever made it mandatory to do Node Wars and be a lot more active in certain stuff, I'd push more for it, but because it's not required, I don't push for it.
I haven't paid attention to Siege since before I ended the podcast. How's Siege been?
It's all right. Novas are pretty fun if you're defending, but I don't know. I have very warped perspectives on Siege because I only besieged once with Vexus, and we were just basically bait for another guild, and they asked me to merc, and I was like, yeah, sure, should be fun. And then I merced, and it was just bait. We sat in a fort and just shot at people across this like valley, and it was very, very boring.
That sounds like Vexus.
Second siege after that was after I got invited to Snake, and we were defending Medaya Wall, and I top fragged as an Awakening Zerker.
Wow.
Before Zerkers just decided not to exist anymore.
Yeah, Zerkers really need more super armor damage.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I wish to change. I'd rather just take away all of our grabs so we can just do damage. I don't know.
Yeah,
Me too.
Yeah,
What-
you guys
what,
just don't do any damage.
Poor Zerkers.
Yeah,
Zerkers, dude, they suck.
I feel like it's like a multifold problem with it all. Like I think that like what
You're
you
being
said, Moro,
sarcastic,
was like
Potion.
your was like the like overall issue right now is like you have these fights where they should be good fights and they get ruined by big guilds coming down and placing them where they shouldn't be, and there's nothing stopping them from doing that or nothing encouraging them to not do that either. And I feel like that's what they really kind of need, and that's honestly my big concern for the new Node Wars they're working on is because they're not addressing that issue, and so that's just going to continue to be.
It's two things though. It is a design flaw for sure. There's better ways that Pearl Abyss could implement these things, but also no matter how much thought Pearl Abyss puts into this, if the community wants to ruin PvP in this game, they're gonna find a way to do it.
they work
And-
really hard at it too.
Yeah, and I think that is the number one problem, at least in NA for the past couple years, is that the people who are at the top of the PvP scene just don't want the PvP scene to be healthy. Like they wanna flex and they wanna drop in bombs and like they just don't want the game to flourish. They're just, I don't know, bro. I don't know what it is, but there's been a drastic shift since we lost like Orca and Lakari and like the old school villains. Like the new villains are actual villains. Like they really do want to just kill this fucking game, it seems.
Yeah, and it's a popular thing to do too, which
Yeah,
blows my mind.
very weird.
It is weird.
I mean, ultimately, doesn't it come from a sense of boredom, right? And nothing else to do?
If there's anything
I
else
guess.
to do, people would do it. Yeah.
Like if they were too busy trying to defend their own territories or like fight each other or something, then that wouldn't be really a case. But they're just bored, and like I think there's like we could mope and say, well, the players either want to ruin it or will ruin it. But ultimately, if you give them something to do to fight, because there are several of these big guilds, if you get them to and find some clever way to make them fight each other, that might be a solution. And I'm not saying what the solution will be, but I think there is a solution to make it better than it currently is. And it used to be good, and I think that I attribute that to people being locked. When you placed on a tier 3, you got locked into your node bracket, and then you were
That's still not true, man.
yeah. You used to like right now you can't place on tier 1s, right? And
No, okay, it's only T1s. If you place on T1s and you win a T1, then you have to place T1s. There's no other locking.
yeah,
I'm sorry. If you win a
a
T2
long
or
time
4,
ago, there used to be locking for tier 1s and tier 2s if you'd placed on a previous on a higher tier node. And there used to be a limit on how many you could win, where all those things now make it where you could basically unlimited troll, and there's no punishment because you can place as many times as you want, and you can lose as many times as you want, and you can own
Right,
as many
so then-
territories as you want.
So then Snake would only take Snake Man Up and all those guys would only, or Vision would only take a node on Sunday, right? So they'd be qualified, and then they just go troll all the way around. I think that boredom is a big part of it. So bear with me for a second.
Sure.
No matter, I don't really want to get into like the nitty gritty of, and we can go over some of the changes that they've made or whatever with the node war system that's coming out. But I think just the fact that they're changing it is going to be like this really great thing. Because like I feel like all the really great arcs have already been played out through Orca and Barcode and all that stuff, and then Lucari and the fake shot calling and taking down Man Up and that other guild turning into a super guild, and then Snake's on Medaya, and then the Super Alliance comes, and then it was all against Cho and Snake and all this kind of stuff. Like there was all these like really good arcs that came through over the past 3 or 4 years through the Siege scene and Node Wars and all that kind of stuff, and I think it's just done. I think everyone's just done with it. And so even if it's a worse system, I think it's going to force everybody to kind of hit the reset button a little bit and just those. But I think it's gone on long enough to where everybody's accustomed to being a dirtbag, douchebag, villain, however you want to put it, that they may just shit all over it again. So I think we needed this like a year and a half ago, maybe even 2 years ago, and it would have kept kind of fresh and a little bit more positive. But I'm happy it's happening, but I'm a little concerned that it might be too late. But it'll be interesting.
Ultimately, what I want out of a new system is I want there to be a path, a protected path to greatness, right? To back up to the top. So that way, for example, like tier 1s would have AP caps, and you would force the high tier guilds out of it. Tier 2s also have them capped, or have like a soft cap instead of a hard cap, and then also make it where the high guilds can't be there. Make it where like tier 1s are like 25 members. This is just an example. I'm not saying they have to do it this way or my idea is best or anything like that. There's many ways to accomplish this. And maybe tier 2s would be like 50 members though. And the idea is that you would have a form of progression not only for your character but also for your guild. That way you would have like a protected path to at least grow your guild up to 75 members or whatever. So you would actually have a chance of fighting someone else. Because right now you kind of get stomped into the ground by these big guilds before you even get the chance to get a few members or a few fights underneath your belt. And I'm not saying I have the answer to that, but I do feel like there needs to be some type of path for a new guild who wants to get at least into moderate fights and not have to worry about fighting the strongest guilds in the game.
Well, that was supposed to be. That's why I screamed about capping mercs for so many years. Is when I restarted Aftershock, and the 3 of us were a part of that, and Blonde Bear was in there for a day.
Yeah.
The real problem is that like Maikai and Choice and people who are like god gamers that are used to merking would just come down and be like, what's happening? I don't know, let's go fuck with Aftershock and whatever's going on Balanos. And they would just do that. And so like this nobody fucking dipshit guild or like Brutal who can bring 30 good players or something, would get crushed against our really well earned and pretty fairly well organized 70, 75, 80 people that we brought, because they'd have 30 gamers and then 70 high-end mercs. Like Show Nation just drops out of guild all the time to fuck with territories. And so I think Saturday nights would be so much more fun if they had, even today, even if they just did it today, they just capped mercs to anything besides 99.
My understanding is that they have capped mercs, but they haven't given us that change yet. Is that true or not true?
So
What does that mean?
On the Global Lab, my understanding was that they actually
they're going to change how it works. So they're going to give people value based off their gear, I believe.
Mhm.
And then you're only going to be able to have so many merc points. And it sounds like that's going to be included on Saturdays. But
to be clear, that I want to reiterate, like, that has or has not been implemented yet.
Has not.
Has not. Okay. So I want to see how that kind of works out, because that may or may not be a solution, right? And I want to know how that works out for you.
I feel like there's a lot of there's so many different working cogwheels and like the whole scene and everything. Like it has to be a step-by-step basis, because a lot of talks, like, because I listen to a lot of podcasts and just people talking when they do like multiple people on stream talking about an issue or a thing they want to change. It's always like, they just jump from one issue to the next, but like we never change one thing, see how it affects the scene, and go from there. And I know a lot of people just want one rapid change that'll change the entire scene ultimately and not have to worry about it anymore, but unfortunately that's just not how people work. So they asked the applicant chat for people that applied for Prolobus Partner, what would you like to see in Node Wars and Siege change? And like an overwhelming majority of the response to that question was caps on mercs. There were some other comments and stuff, but that was the main thing everybody focused on.
Good.
And that's what everybody could like really, really agree on. People even got to the hardest point where they said that we only want like 3 to 5 mercs at max even. So I don't know. It's like, I hope they would take the feedback, enable it, see how that affects the scene, build up more guilds instead of making a bunch of like shell merc guilds, and then from there, like, we could see what happens. It's just complicated because we'll talk about one issue, okay, and then we'll talk about another issue, but we won't talk about these issues as if each of these things are getting fixed and we're talking about it after it's fixed. It's always like we're talking about how we're going to eat this cake, not slice by slice, but I'm going to take a bite and then pretend like that first bite didn't exist and take another bite and pretend like that bite didn't exist and take another bite. Right? Like that's how the discussions always go. And we just have to see the change and then how do we change it from here, right?
I agree with that. I think a good example of that is the protected area change. We knew that would be a good change for Node Wars, but we didn't know how it would affect Node Wars until it actually happened. And now we get to either verify people's opinions or it contradicted people's opinions, but we actually know how it works now. And I feel like that's the type of thing they need. And I get maybe I should readjust and say that, like, what I want them to do is just not stop at 90% through. I want them to follow through and actually finish everything, because I feel like almost all the projects are like they stop 90% of the way through and they don't do the last 10% that's important.
The frustrating thing is we do already have the data on a lot of these things. We have a version of the game before mercs. We know what it was like. We had a version of Node War where protected area didn't work. We knew what that was like. Like we already, it's not a question mark or a matter of opinion. Some of this stuff we just know is objectively better, and they still refuse to pay attention to it.
I mean, I literally died on the capping mercs thing as hard as I could. I added Rhodes and I called him a piece of shit and an idiot or something, and I'm like, you can't even get siege mercs capped. Like, this is ridiculous. This whole thing's a waste of time. Like, that was my last message in the BDO partner program with Cacao Games. And so I don't care how it gets done. I'm glad everybody's on that page finally, because that 6 months of running a Balanos tier siege guild was I forgot how hard that was. So I'm good with that. And I completely agree with the sentiment that, if you're going to eat an elephant one bite at a time, you got to swallow that first bite before you start, taking other bites.
Exactly. And that's been the hard part for me, is I've only really been paying attention to the Siege and Node War scene. Like, even not at the beginning of being in Snake, like I would just, I just show up for Castle and Siege and I'd enjoy that. And that's all I participate in, right? So, when I talk to people about these things, like, I need to ask for their perspective. Like, I didn't know that people already knew it was better before mercs. I thought this was just ultimate opinion that like people came to eventually. Like I've never paid attention to anything, and it's like it's impossible to go back and look at, okay, well, on January 1st of 2019, how did people feel about Noted Siege? Right? Like I can't go back on that, but like
Sure.
having you to be able to go and be like, okay, well, I remember how this system was, and this is objectively better because of XYZ. Like that's way easier for me to digest because I just don't know. Right? It's completely new to me.
And that was a big reason I wanted to start. Go ahead, Marlon.
I was going to say, the population of the game is actually pretty good. We probably have about the same amount of people that we did a year ago, that we did 2 years ago. Like there tends to be enough promotions and stuff or whatever that the player base kind of spikes in the summer, and the Steam charts get back up to 17K or whatever. Like I don't feel like the population of this game is suffering. In fact, I think it might be doing better than it has in a long time.
Yeah.
And yet, year after year, the number of guilds that are in Siege dwindles, and that directly started when the Merc system was implemented. Like you can draw a line from the Merc system being implemented and the number of guilds participating in Siege, and they're just going to stack right on top of each other. Like that thing just killed so much participation. It killed the whole point of making your own guild and having an identity and having like a group of people that you have to invest in, that you have to learn how to work with. Like it just, why bother if you can just merc every week?
Exactly. And that was the thing. It's like everybody always defends merking for like, well, I'm lazy and I don't want to do this and I don't want to pay attention. I just want to show up and kill some people and then I just want to do whatever. It's like people would always defend it with that, but then overwhelmingly everybody also agrees that mercs are the worst. So it's like, I don't know if it's just a vocal minority of people that are like, well, I don't want to do anything. I'm lazy. I just want to merc because it's easy and fun.
Yeah.
But also like everybody in the Siege scene, especially EU, because EU's been ruined. Like NA's only really feeling it over the last like probably a year or so, but EU's felt it for way longer, probably twice as long, because EU has been at that 30 guild cap, filling with mercs, only fighting, not sitting in castle because they enjoy the fight way longer than I feel like NA has. And
KR has been even longer than that. Yeah. And so that was the whole thesis of when I started Aftershock 2.0 was I was hearing this whole thing about how hard it is to start a guild and mercs are ruining it. I'm like, come on, it can't be that bad. You guys got to just learn how to make alliances and shit. And so I streamed my early officer meetings and stuff like that. And I was going to do this whole transparent thing. And I mean, the first 4 weeks was us just getting completely fucking shit on by just massive amounts of mercs, and it was a reoccurring theme. Guilds were built, that FML rework was a total fucking joke. They just brought in 60 mercs, and then they wouldn't show up the next week. The same with Legatum or whatever the case was. And so that was the reoccurring theme. That just, it was merc out, get a win, and even if you did get an agreement to do something fun or whatever the case was, this community is so fucking dog shit with that kind of stuff. They'd backstab you, bring in more mercs than they said they were going to, whatever the case was. And so then I got that firsthand experience as a BDO partner and the person who was running the Siege podcast and all that stuff for a while. I'm like, hey, so this is how Siege really is. Does anybody care? And then like some moderators would post some pictures of cats or something. I'm like, I'm actually fucking out. Like, absolutely fuck this. So I just sit on the sideline, play the game for what it is, and kind of retired from trying to white knight making this game as good as it really is on the cusp of being. And so hopefully we got some, some new fresh blood in here and enough of the old guard that, cared about the game and isn't too jaded from years and years of being told no to come in and at least be able to send back to the guys what we're saying, whether or not it matters to them.
They better not allow moderators into the partner channel this time around. That was one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever seen a company do.
To be fair, we did need some moderation in there, though.
You don't trust your own partners enough to keep, to self-moderate? Why are they in the partner program then? That's just so fucking bizarre to me, dude.
Okay, fair. So they should have removed, 80%.
Yeah, they should have absolutely, well, not 80%, but a large portion of the people had no business being in there. And I don't know, dude. I don't even know who any of those moderators were. That shit drive me crazy. They would just spam our important discussions with pictures of their cats. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You didn't earn this.
Vinyl's actually he's a friend of Richter, and he's actually a really good mod. I saw that he's back in that Discord. So he's a homie. Anytime I've ever needed help or something went awry, he's probably the only one that has filled that role appropriately and never spammed cat pictures or anything. But yeah, the other people were fucking jokes. And I'd get in fights with them about it too. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to have a fucking conversation here.
Yeah, I would every time I tried to say anything in that Discord, it just got spammed away by people who weren't even partners. Like it was just, I gave up on that shit.
Yeah, anytime somebody like added me with some sassy thing to say, I'd pull up their Twitch and they had like 1,000 followers or like 600 or something, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, can we get these fucking charity cases out of here so we can actually talk about how to make this fucking game better?
Yeah.
That's probably toxic, but
Well, I mean, my fear is that these issues are not being fixed, not because they're not being heard, but because Proboscis wants to do what they're doing, right? And I have the hope that changes, right? But I just,
right.
I don't know. I have this suspicion that the reason these things never changed and were never listened to is not just because Cacao didn't try hard enough or they didn't give our information over. I think it's just because Probus doesn't want to do those things. They want to do their own business. So
That's
it's crazy to
me.
me. It's right. It's crazy to me to think that, you know, you can have such good firsthand quality recorded feedback of core tenets of the game, and it just fall on deaf ears, whether it be the publisher, the communication, the relationship, or even the developers. And so, I mean, again, that's why I kind of divorced myself of that whole thing. It's like I am wasting so much time, emotion, and headspace on this, and literally nobody cares.
yeah, absolutely.
So I hope it changes for you guys. I'm still waiting for my email, but I don't.
It just makes you check all
Must be in their
folders.
spam folder. Must be in their spam folders.
I'm telling you,
anyone got an email, Tim? I don't know why you keep saying it's an email.
No,
I never got an email.
check,
Oh.
do you use Gmail, Moreland?
Do I what?
Gmail? What mail system do you use?
AOL.
Yeah, I use Gmail.
Okay, check your promotions folder. A lot of people that were using Gmail said it was in their promotions.
Wait, you guys
You
actually
sent-
got emails about the partner program?
I did, and a few others that I've talked to have.
Yeah, I got
Before you
one.
signed up, or what do you mean?
Yeah, well, no, after I signed up, obviously.
Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah,
signed-
obviously, after you signed up, you get one.
yeah.
Yeah, Tim's complaining that he didn't get preemptively invited to the partner program. I'm telling him no, what he did.
Oh,
You have to
Oh.
go sign up.
you
Yeah.
have to apply. They're making every single person apply.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought you actually applied, Tim.
I did.
You,
Oh, okay.
You applied on the website?
Yeah, nobody's said anything. To me
Yeah.
yet.
Okay. Yeah. So then, yeah, his point stands. Yeah, he should.
Wait,
he
so
should-
what's the latest? What's the latest email word? Did they tell people yes or no?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they've
I
started
got-
telling people yes or no.
Oh, okay. Maybe I should check my email.
But
Double
they
check
have
your-
so many people that they're in, and it's only like one person doing it. So
Yeah, so they're kind of slow going a little bit, but they're trying to get it done before the rest of the week. They have not sent out everything, so if you haven't gotten it, don't freak out. But it's possible it still could be coming.
and the thing is, like, it's not like I think that my ideas are better or the partners think their ideas are better or anything. It's just there needs to be some way to filter out like there's too many voices to listen to. So you have to pick somebody to listen to. It might as well be the guys who make a living playing the game. And I think that's kind of like the mentality on that the streamers have. And I don't
Sort of.
I guess I feel like definitely some people get rubbed the wrong way about it, right? Some people get rubbed the wrong way. It's like, why do you think you're special as a streamer? Why shouldn't they listen to my voice? You know?
Yeah, it's always frustrating when like people are like trying to provide criticism to the game, and people like in chat are like, "Oh, well, the rich stay rich." Whenever you talk about trying to buff like the income of like maybe like Siege and Node Wars, right? And it's always like there's always like the second-handed response, but it's like, and then like it's just I don't know. You can't please everybody, right? But people have to provide feedback, and it's obvious that like if you looked at the feedback library of the forums, a majority of the feedback there is like a huge joke. You've got like Suck Wizards complaining that Zerkers need to have their grabs removed because it's not fair that when they're casting their meteor that they get grabbed, and like stuff about like just most of the most absurd stuff like they've ever said, because it's a lot of like gearlets at like 220 AP getting upset that they can't win a duel against someone sitting in like dead gun armor. It's like it doesn't make any sense. Some like the feedback people provide. So, and it's just frustrating too that people complain that like, oh well, you know, I can't grind all the time, so I don't have any gear. It's like you could play seasons for a week and hop out of that with 500 plus gear score, and then literally from there go or 550 gear score, right? And then from there, basically, by the time you can graduate, you can get like full 10 accessories, and then from there, like there's too many freebies they're handing out for me to fall for like the gearlit excuse of like, I don't know. It's just frustrating.
I don't think they use the forums for feedback, and I don't think they ever will or should. It's a waste. I think everyone knows it's a waste of time.
I don't think that every streamer is right either. I know. If someone asked me, "Hey, Blomber, what do you think they should do with Zerker PvP? How do they buff and nerf it?" I'm gonna say some joke response and tell them like /s at the end. But there's no way I would let anybody actually take real feedback from me because I
don't think anyone's ever suggesting that the partners should be taken as gospel or like that we should be the only source of feedback or anything like that. But I think when you have 20 different partners who are all funneling thousands of people's feedback and condensing that into the most succinct form possible, or when you have something like the feedback library, which is literally thousands or tens of thousands of people who are all, compiling their thoughts about an issue, and all of that points in the same direction, and you're still not going in that direction, that needs to be a bit of a red flag.
Yeah, definitely.
Well said.
Absolutely.
Morland, let me look up that email for you, by the way.
Dude, my promotions folder is a hot fucking mess.
90% of my stream emails go into my promotions folder. Like I clicked it, like nothing changed.
Update on New Worlds. I'm a New World content creator.
Yeah, me too. They told us not to be toxic though.
Have I been accepted into New World Creator Program? Yes. By signing up, you're automatically accepted.
Well, that's easy.
Wow.
I should do that.
That's where Imre went.
That's toxic, Tim.
Whoops. Read the bottom of that paragraph.
Did you find anything interesting, by the way, in that dev letter about the oops, we found 2% crit damage?
Oh.
We made him talk. He wasn't reading.
Yeah.
It's titled as Black Desert Online contact at playbackdesert.com. It's the email. It's titled as Black Desert. If you type any like Pearl Abyss or something like that, it should come up.
I think this is my favorite part right here. They say, due to our carelessness, critical hit damage +2 setting was included during data implementation stage for the items update. While the effect was applied, we remained unaware of the fact, and the relevant tooltip data ended up not being added. Thus, the relevant teams were unaware, and the issue was missed during the QA process for the update as well.
That's what I'm telling you.
Like,
the guy
like
that
they
used
just
Blackstar
at every level. Yeah, at every level, this broke down. One guy added the stat to the item and didn't put it in the tooltip, and everyone else in the company relies on the tooltips rather than the actual item's data to make their decisions. So they were also unaware, and therefore QA didn't even know to look for it, and apparently doesn't ever do any like in-depth testing on items to make sure that they're working properly or anything like that. So yeah, just the whole system, it's that easy for something to just slip through the cracks. I've been saying this for years, dude. How many things in this game are broken that we don't know about, the devs don't know about, QA doesn't know about, that we would never know without this sort of like crazy top of the line testing that people do on global labs. And it's a tiny percentage of players who will ever engage in these kinds of tests, and it's a tiny percentage of the game that they're ever going to focus their efforts on. This stuff could be everywhere, and we just like, look how many other items they found. They found like 6 other items that are all broken when they did this check. Yep. It's crazy.
Well, imagine if this came down to like drop rate for like one of the compass parts, like or maybe the Elton piece has a bug where your account gets a bug and you can't get the Elton piece. Like that is a realistic possibility because of how they do their QA.
Some really messed up stuff.
So when you have a QA like that, why wouldn't you take your partnered? I feel like that statement finishes itself. But yeah, I wonder what kind of promotion they gave that guy that fucked that up.
He's part of the tooltip monitoring team now.
Yeah, we do need an update. I was re-listening to our last podcast. We definitely need the update from the costume task force. It's been too quiet.
What are you
You seen that
talking
new
about?
wizard one?
They came out with such a good costume for Lon.
See that new wizard one?
Yeah.
The new wizard was so cool, and it wasn't even by the people that are part of the costume team. They just stole it from the idea from the guy who won the art contest, or they didn't win, but he got like second place in the art contest. So
Well, that means
it's not even theirs.
the costume team had to create it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess they had to make it in the game, but the theme, I mean,
I wonder out of like all the not to bring this back to last week's topic with wizard costumes, but out of all the costumes that were submitted for wizard, how many of them were clan inspired?
oh god,
Oh no.
that's why you can't die.
I bet like
right?
25% were, man. Anyway,
Let me see if I can find
Anyways.
this wizard costume here.
yeah, I like the new wizard costume. I guess I don't know. I think so. There again. There's another like really good example, right? Like some of the best costumes that we've received are from just being like, "Hey, you guys want to draw costumes for us?"
Basically,
Well, maybe we're onto something every once
I'm
in a
okay
while.
with that.
Do you guys see the
If it
Nuver
works.
costume that they're coming out with?
that looks cool. That looks really cool. Very excited.
I don't wear costumes anymore.
No? What do you just walk around in your tree pajamas?
Hidden Gilly with my Dead God armor, and everything else
Actually,
died
the dead guy
accordingly.
look cool.
Yeah, my
Kinda.
character looks fucking awesome. I brought this up the other week. Like my favorite YouTube comments are where people are like, "What's that costume?" And I'm like, "Nothing. It's just
Griffin
in-game
helmet
items."
still looks like a not good.
Well, I use Grunel, and thank God on Guardian, Grunel doesn't show up as like this shitty hat that it does on Witch Wizard.
Oh yeah, my bags are dyed purple from when I was playing Dark Knight 4 years ago. I forgot.
Muskins look terrible, absolutely terrible. But outside of that, everything's fine.
Ergons might look okay if I dyed them. The natural like puke green color is a little weird.
But that's like my fight the power kind of thing. I just
Dude, did you know Ergons are toe socks? I never realized this.
I got toes on them.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well,
Wait.
those are staying hidden.
Really? I am ashamed
they're
that I
like
played
those-
this game this long and not realized.
They're like those pretentious like toe shoes that people who are into rock climbing wear. Remember when those were big for like a week?
suddenly I'm physically attracted to TR builds.
I realized this week that the little antler people have hooves for their feet.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
Yeah, I've been selling to this NPC beside the Calthian storage manager for years and never realized he had hooves for feet.
Why are those not a playable race yet?
Hooves?
The
Deer people.
yeah, deer
Oh, the-
people.
yeah.
What are they called?
Who cares?
We're getting a bunch of short people races this year for classes.
Oh, I'm so
Supposedly.
excited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dwarf. I think the next class, by the way, is a stone wizard. We talked about that before. Yes? No? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
The on Shadow Arena, they released a stone wizard. It's a stone wizard where you summon stones and you throw them at people, and he has like a whole bunch of earth magic. I think that's what they're doing. I think they're going to.
Already have Dark Mage. What?
Yeah, I think I think they're going to change the theme from wizard to something else for BDO, but I think they're going to keep the earth type theme to it.
They have a little bit of like they changed things up, like Moose has a grab and stuff, but that's actually probably 200 IQ. Looking to Shadow Arena for like what may come next on BDO. a little
Well,
bit.
and on top of that, they had a big stone for their preview for the class. They had a big stone pillar in the middle, which it looks very similar to what he had. And he has fire around it. So I think probably his main hand might be fire and his awakening might be the stone or vice versa.
Did you notice this, or did somebody point it out to you?
Someone told me about the Shadow Arena class, and then I made a connection for the fire probably being his other version of the class.
I was gonna say you didn't notice that those NPCs that have been in the game for 3 years have hooves, but you pulled this one together like in the very next sentence.
Listen, I keep telling you guys that my chat is why that tier list is so good. It's not because I'm anything special. My chat is 5-head as fuck.
I clipped something. You can look at the clips of your stream from yesterday. I clipped something that you said about Awaken Ranger because I just straight fucking didn't believe you. You're like, Awaken Ranger's mechanical or something. I'm like, where the fuck does he get this information from? I sent it to Kinjara, and I'm like, "What do you think about this opinion?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's actually pretty right." I'm like, "God damn it!"
Posted stuff in this chat just so you guys could see the images in the video and maybe a possible other class leak. Maybe.
Oh, that's right. I'm supposed to plead for you to give Junior Soros a second chance in your stream on the podcast. I was supposed to ask that.
Did he pay for that?
Yeah.
Okay. As long as it wasn't free. This is valuable airtime.
He's a nice kid. That's going to cost you another sub, Junior. Anyway.
What else do we have on the agenda for today?
Let's talk about the server transfer that's coming up. That'll be between now and next week. The servers are going down for, I think, something like 36 hours, some ridiculous amount of time.
You think that's a ridiculous amount of time to transfer the amount of data? I want them to take a whole fucking week off to make sure that everything gets ported over, man.
I think your mail's getting deleted. I think your workers are all getting reset, and I think what's the third thing? There was something else we thought was going to get fucked up with it. I can't remember what it was.
Oh no, I'm hoping
this, or they said this.
No, I'm just guessing what they're going to mess up on.
Great. All right.
They better not fuck with my mail. I swear to God.
Anyway,
Dude,
I'm kind of thinking we should talk about a few things in here. I mentioned a few, and we'll see what you guys want to talk about. One of them was what players should expect, how people have to transfer their accounts, when do they have to transfer by, accounts don't transfer, get deleted.
Already transferred your account, like. I feel like at this point, does the deadline even matter? Like, go do it. Go do it right now. What are you doing?
I have to
do
update
it
my
right now.
Steam account.
You got 7 more days for rewards, otherwise you don't get all the pre-rewards if you don't do it.
Why would you wait? There's so much free shit.
I haven't transferred my alt account with Aftershock. I need to do that. I almost did it this morning, but then I took a nap.
I actually looked it up. If you don't transfer your account gets deleted on July 1st.
Yeah, you get a bunch of time to do it.
Yep.
They're gonna wipe the friends list.
Oh, that'd probably be gone.
Oh my god, I have a friend that hasn't logged in 1,545 days.
I'm really
I
concerned.
won't be able to. Hold on. I think I have Blade Bowquest still on here. When's the last time we
Same.
logged in?
Bro,
I wonder how much better my game will run when they wipe the friends list.
Oh, that's a racial slur.
Blade sent me a love letter from the Valentine's Day they did last year, and
Yeah, me too.
I thought it was a fake Blade bow quest, and so I blocked the person and said, "This is no way it's Blade." And Blade was like, "Oh, I was actually like hurt from it." I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that I was actually Blade."
82 days request for me. Sad.
Did you call him BowQuest?
Yeah, he did. He put a
Bowquest.
T on that.
What? No.
I'm happy to see that Blade hasn't backed down for getting his name cleared.
Yeah.
Oh
I
man,
feel
his
bad
Twitter's
for him.
been lit this week.
I
Yeah.
feel so bad. Like all he wants is to just be like, "Hey, we made a mistake." Poor guy, dude.
Some of the
People-
pictures that he posted that have like trolled, there's some excellent Blade Bowquest pictures. He posted one on his own Twitter. He's like, "Look how I'm getting bullied," and there's one with him like with meth teeth and like a mask, and it has damaged tattooed on his forehead. I ugly cried, laughed at that. It was it was.
Poor guy.
I wish somebody did that to me, man. Shit's fucking fun. I know he's not wired that way. I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm happy he posted that picture so I could see it.
The transfer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about?
Nothing. Go do it. If you haven't done it, then like, what's wrong with you?
YouTube video on how to do it very easily. Tells you all the buttons to press. Very simple.
Did they fix the password thing where people were getting a gibberish error because of their
Yeah.
password?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it until then.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the only thing that I'm really thinking is they're coming in pretty hot. You know, they've got a couple of people that, you know, are from kind of the old guard, and it's good to see that. But I'm wondering if this is just like a burst of excitement to get everybody, on board, because there's a palpable excitement, especially with the stream. The more people that watch this, the more, rewards. Like they kind of know how to boost it up. And I'm wondering if they're going to try to maintain that, or if this is just like to promote people transferring or maybe giving the game a second chance, and it's just a thing of opportunity, and they're going to quickly turn into like a lame duck situation that we're used to.
Seems like the console and mobile game team try to be on the ball about like communication and doing content, having streams, posting videos and stuff. I feel like they do a pretty good job. I feel like with NA and EU, we're constantly like at the top of the categories, very live, very, open and honest. So I feel like if they push for the ability to be out there and constantly communicating with the community, then it'll exist. I hope they push to.
I think the Perlibus team is a lot more bought in than the Cacao team. Like the Cacao team, I think was a lot more like, this is just let's show up and get a paycheck. Whereas the Perlibus team is, since they're not so removed from it all, like they're working directly for the company that makes the product, and they know the people that they're working with, and there's not as much tension or whatever. I feel like they're a lot more bought in that regard.
Oh, exactly.
One thing is I went over the Q3 investor report, or whatever you call it, and they said that the game, when they did it self-publishing in Korea, they gained like some crazy number of players and they made a lot more money. And they said the same thing happened in Japan. And so there's a expectation from the investors right now that the game will make getting more players and make more money. And I think that we're going to see Perlibus try to manipulate things in order to make that prophecy come true.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's why they've been holding off on the Cronstone change for like a year and a half.
Yep. That's a good point.
Yeah, they probably have several things lined up to make sure that the transfer suddenly surges the revenue and popularity of the game.
Yeah.
Just, by pure coincidence.
And I read some minutes from a previous meeting, and they were just getting completely fucking railed over the lack of success of BDO Mobile and how it was waning, and they were trying to like talk about Xbox and stuff in response, and then they'd just be like, yeah, so let's go back to BDO Mobile for a second. Why isn't that printing cash like he told us it was going to? So I bet we're going to see some aggressive sales, which has already kind of trickled through Cacao Games. For whatever reason, the revenue's been down through coronavirus. So I bet when they get their hands on, fucking NA, dude, they're gonna pump us hard.
Yeah, I'm kind of expecting to see something along the lines of maybe the game, some way of obtaining the game in a free manner, very, very easily. Like going free on Steam, or Twitch drops for free, or what they did in SCA recently is they made it where you could, if you get to level 50 on your trial account, then after a certain amount of time, it would automatically upgrade your game to the full version. I think we're going to see maybe one or several different versions of that. The 5-year anniversary, I think they're going to make that a huge play. What's the thing? What's the con price in KR now? Do you guys know?
The what?
The cron for a costume now in KR.
I don't know. Don't play KR.
I think they're increasing up to like something like 400 crons for a costume, like 450 crons.
50% increase. Yeah, that's what we were just.
Yeah. So I think they'll see that very happen very soon. But what they did last time when they did the cron stone increase, which I think they're going to do this time, is I think they're going to first make everything 50% off. They made everything roughly 50% off on the sales. That way you get a huge influx of people buying costumes, selling them again. And then they increased the price. And then they had a second wave of people going crazy buying costumes, selling them to the marketplace. And I think they're going to do that I think we're going to see a repeat of that this time.
I think there's going to be a shitload of Twitch drops, dude. I think you should like go outside or have a coma or something like that. So you can be ready for all that, dude. I think you're about to have an infinite stream and you don't even know it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very possible. They actually, we had a Q&A with them, and they said that they realized in cacao that it was extremely, and then they were like, we can't say that. Basically implying that it was like really, really good, and that they will be doing more of them in the future. I kind of suspect that it's kind of too quick to set that up. Because you have to have an account, and the account, if they have to make a new account, the account creation process takes about 3 months to 6 months. But if they get Cacao's account for it and they actually get that transfer, then they'll be able to do that instantly. So it kind of depends.
Perlipus has worked with Twitch before. They did paid sponsorships when Xbox came out and stuff like that. I don't think it'll take time.
There's Twitch drops for Shadow Arena that just doesn't matter.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, I think you're right on the ball for that. I think they'll definitely see a lot more of that.
Get some rest, man. You're gonna be up soon.
My turn will be up to bat. Is there anything you guys are afraid of, like Perlibus doing worse after the transfer than Cacao Games does?
I don't know. From what they've said and the talk they had and a lot of the things they set forth, a lot of the things that they want to give the partner program, make it actually exclusive. Like they're being very harsh on like the viewer count average. They're being very harsh on like the constant uploads and streams. I feel like they're actually like getting a tight grip on the community. And from the talks, at least that they've had with the applicants, they said that they really wanted to like pay attention and actually be in the streams and get a sense of the communities and stuff. So they are watching. So I don't know. I'm not really scared. I'm scared that they're going to say, "Oh, we'll listen and get you answers," but like, I don't know what that really means, right?
Yeah, I mean the Perlibus partner program will for sure be better. There's no way it could be worse than the one we had with Cacao. But I do think one thing that people don't realize is how much advocating Cacao did behind closed doors when it comes to this game's business model. And like with them gone, there is no buffer between like NA and Perlibus just going full blown, like coming up with some new mechanics since from 6 months from now that just, is the final straw of just turning this into a complete, pay to win casino loot box gambling simulator. So I'm a little bit nervous about the direction the cash shop goes with Cacao out of the way. There's little things like getting the Valk's Cry in the loyalty shop. That's 100% Cacao. I don't think people remember how that all went down. But when we were battling to not get Cronstones and Valks added to the game, of course we lost. But at least as a consolation, we got some of those things added to the loyalty shop. So there was like little compromises here and there that were made. It's not a big thing. They didn't do much to protect the game. The business model still did end up turning very, very sour. But they were still kind of that last barrier that we're not going to have anymore.
Yeah. True.
I think that's a really good point. I don't think I have much of an appetite for, I'm kind of turned off from Dead God and stuff like that. So I forgot about that and had some closed door conversations with they really did do a good job with that. You're 100% right.
Well, it's like one of the big nails in the coffin, for me at least, for Arcade, was them making it and adding so much pay to win. Like they got to a point where it's more profitable to just pay to win than to play the game, right? And I feel like we're not there yet, right? Like, yeah, you could buy 35 costumes, but like, say I was just like buying a costume and that's an hour of grinding, like I don't mind. But with this like new like 600 million silver costume, it's like, geez.
It's already to the point right now for me that I can barely keep up with a full-time just grinding and taking breaks like between mental fatigue and just like actual time grinding. I can barely keep up with somebody and who's paying to win full-time. I can basically keep up with them. But if they grind at all, then they immediately make more income than me. And I can't. There's no possible way for me to keep up with that. And that's with me using loot scrolls and value pack and all that, right? So I think that's definitely a very valid concern for the future, that people don't realize that 50% increase means you're going to be getting, what is it, like 16, 17 billion a week from the same money put into the game.
I think for as far as like the partner program goes, I really hope that they, instead of just it being some, kind of gatekeeper holding, this person's my friend, so we're gonna pump out whatever the fuck they do, or we see them as some sort of leader. You know, that they invest in some of these other people that have great viewership on Twitch, that have kind of unique or different content, and put them out. You know, Moreland, everybody knows who Moreland is. Everybody knows who, you know, a lot of these guys are fake and everything like that. Not saying that they don't deserve some highlights, but some of these other people that really put out like interesting content, like Carl with being a perma red Musa and stuff like that, you know, kind of highlighting some of the different ways to play this game, instead of just like, hey, this guy gets a lot of views and has big channel views, let's put him all over my website all the time. Like I that's kind of a lazy way to approach that. And I think the other thing I'd like to see just out of the game, I lost my train of thought. It just completely left me. But I think there's just not perpetuating the laziness that we saw, or getting comfortable and stuff like that. I think Final Fantasy and some of the other games have really kind of paved a really good way in supporting their community, both as content creators and just people that are interested in how the game plays out. And there's ways to... I'm sorry, that's what I was going to say. That's all right. We'll let it go. That's good enough.
Same.
I know I was a little all over the place with that, but I'm just looking forward to different. I was just looking forward to different.
Looking
However
forward.
played.
Yeah, I mean,
different.
I mean, go ahead and complete it. I think what you're saying is important.
I really just it was just the gatekeeping thing is really kind of fucking with me, and not paying attention to people's actual actions, and really just paying attention to views and view counts and stuff like that. The BDO community has some really cool people and some really interesting takes on this game that I really think should be highlighted, and not just the old guard, gatekeeper boys club kind of bullshit that, has massive underlies of toxicity. And I maybe even included myself into that crew. So I'm hoping that they take fresh looks, even though, there is a couple of old people.
Yeah, I don't think view count is indicative of good quality content. And I think putting a view count on it, although it does limit the number of people who can participate in the partner program, I think there should be exceptions based on the quality of the content,
I think they
or
say
uniqueness.
exactly that in the applicant thing.
I'm not
think
even
they say
talking
something
about
like,
people under 80. I'm not even saying that. Like, there's plenty of people who qualify for the partnership that play the game completely differently, that just get pushed aside because they don't have hundreds of viewers, right? They may just qualify.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Again, it really just comes down to different. I'm just hoping for different.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. I think BDO in a lot of ways needs fresh air, not only in the game sense, but also in creator sense, right? New ways of looking at things. Because honestly, a lot of us, we have been playing the game so long that even if we do make a new character and play through it, it's not the same experience because we know all the tips and tricks type deal. Having some kind of fresh eyes on that in one way or another, I think can be really good. Like we already said, there's no patch this week, so that's about all there is, other than the account transfer. We're getting next week. We get a whole lot more rewards. Does anyone remember what those are? Let me see if I can find those somewhere in here.
We're getting like a ton of crons, aren't we?
Yeah. All right.
a bunch of very good things.
I'm gonna one tap from Pride Duo and to try.
We get
dead guy.
Once it's complete and you've done it ahead of time, you get 1,000 crons. You get one of every weapon exchange coupon. You get a tier 4 young Pomi, which is you can choose a white or black color, and you get the title Now or Never, which is very clever. It also resets how many of your 530 scrolls you can get, so you can get another 53 of those. You can get a helper enhancement kit, which that has a lot of. That's not your typical one. That is a customized one. A family name change coupon, character name change coupon. After July 1st, those character name and family name change coupons, all the names of all the accounts get deleted. You can now change your name to those accounts, which is going to be really, really cool after July 1st. It might be before. I kind of doubt that it's going to be before, just because I don't know how they could determine that. And for the helper enhancement kit, you're going to get a 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100 fel stack. All those come from that enhancing support bundle. So definitely worth doing the transfer. The transfer is on, you can't miss it. It's all over their new website and the old website. So,
Well, if you don't transfer, you know, I like that you said it's worth it to transfer.
oh, there's also
It's definitely worth it. Yeah.
there's supposed
worth
to be
it
a
to not
new
have your
login
entire
reward, I
buffer.
believe.
Unless you're played, I guess. But
Oh yeah, there's there's another login reward. Oh, that's where we get all this stuff from. It's from the new login rewards. Okay, I see. There's a few other things in here. There's a Shaktu box, Shaktu rarity box, artist memories, Valk's Cry, Mount skill change coupon.
I wasn't gonna transfer my account, but now that I get a Shikatu box and coupons, I think I'm properly incentivized.
well, this is for people who quit the game, right? Hey, come back. You get all this shit, you know, especially if you haven't played since 2019. 1,000 crowns will get you those stud attempts.
I mean, that
over.
probably will actually work. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be reinstalling for this. Like, oh, well, I don't want to lose my stuff. What if I do want to come back? Maybe I should come back. Oh, what's all this free shit? Oh, maybe I should click some things. Oh, it went up because I got new player boosted RNG or returning player boosted RNG.
Where did this level 61 Guardian come from? My account got hacked.
Who's been hacking my account? Leveling all my characters. Other games?
Yeah, let's start. Well, nope, wait. We have daily challenge rewards. So this week, if you log in every day, you get a new one for challenge rewards. New Pearl Shop Long costume, Global Lab. This is actually some really cool stuff on Global Lab this week. It's nothing huge, but it's some very interesting to see the direction they're taking the game, and hopefully do more of this stuff. So they did quality life for cooking, and now your cooking recipes, each unique cooking recipe is remembered on the right hand side up to 20. So yep. And not only did they do that, but they also, you can now see the durability of your cooking or alchemy tool while cooking your alchemy.
Whoa!
So 2 really nice quality of life changes that should have happened probably 5 years ago. But
why does that matter? You guys
oh my god,
look at your screen while you're cooking?
yeah, it's important. I need to know exactly how many more materials I need to use my maids to transfer.
I hate that I have to pull off to see if my tool's almost dead.
Yep.
Imagine not just maxing your inventory.
It's not how it works out sometimes. Sometimes, okay, I'm not going to explain it to you. You're not even a fucking guru cook, kid.
Yeah,
The
I'm like Guru 10.
The adults are speaking.
Anyway, those are huge quality of life changes. Really happy with them.
Invented the hard beer recipe, okay?
The hard beer recipe?
Yeah, have you ever cooked hard beer?
No. What?
What about dandelion beer, pussy? Have you ever cooked that?
I don't know what you're even talking
Yeah,
about.
I didn't think so.
Listen, boomer. I'm Guru 37. Don't ever talk to me again.
I haven't even drank dandelion beer. You can't even make dandelion beer anymore. They nerfed it. You can still make hard beer, though.
I don't even know what you're talking about. How do you make hard beer?
You add a hard black crystal shard into your beer recipe.
You're a fucking idiot. Hey, you just had to have me ask, didn't you? You just had to go me as hard as me. Yeah.
Very patient.
I was more interested in the heart. Never mind.
Anyway, I think they've been doing a lot of these quality of life changes like this, and I think this type of thing is just this is a good direction for them to go. It doesn't fix the core problems with the game, but it makes the game so fundamentally more enjoyable that I honestly just want to see they can do more stuff like this. And they have. There's another one. What they did is they made it where now you can select in your ecology menu. You're going to select a knowledge, and all mobs that one that you selected will be highlighted on your mini map. And so if you're using the 2D mini map, yep. And if you're using 2D mini map now, they show up as orange or yellow or something like that.
Dude, I said that. That's my idea.
We've all said that. Shut up.
No,
Anybody who's ever done, everybody who's
idea
ever done
years
ecology, everybody who's ever done ecology goes, "Wow, I wish they would just highlight like if they were quest mobs."
That's literally my idea.
Oh my god! Just apply for the fucking job, then.
Tagging was my idea, so.
Hire me, dude.
So yeah, that was the other thing. I think this is a huge. I want to see it. Like, I'm very happy about this. I want to see more things like this in the future. Right? This is the correct direction for the quality of life. These are not core changes, but they're massive quality of life
They're
changes.
changes done by someone who actually plays the game.
Yeah.
That's why it's
Yeah.
a good change. Like, they're changes by someone who gives a shit, and I like seeing that, even if it's small.
I just want to point out that we're getting highlighted mobs for ecology before they cap siege mercs.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think they're
apparently
delaying all the nodeware changes until they finish it, and they want to roll it out as one big package.
I know, but sometimes something comes through, and I say it often, but sometimes something comes through that blows my mind. I'm like, oh man, this is really cool. They should have done that a while ago. Wait a minute, siege mercs still aren't capped.
Yeah.
So I have to say that's my little fuck you. That's part of the detriment of being friends with Tim Allen is he says that every once in a while.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I didn't. The detriment of being potion shop is I'll just repeat it anyway, so it's fine. It's fine. We already talked about the main hand crit changes. They did a ton of quality of life to Nova, so I don't really know why they keep focusing on this quality of life for Nova. She's already in a better spot than every other class in the game as far as quality of life goes. For like the most part, I can't think of inner classes that have less problems than Nova.
way more effort into her than they did in the last couple new releases. It's been like non-stop 10-page patch notes for Nova.
And I mean, I think the changes they're doing are good. I kind of at this point for Nova, I'm a Nova main. There are some things I still would like to change about Nova Awakening, but it's just like at this point, it's like I kind of would rather just have them start balancing classes in PvE or PvP or Node Wars or put that effort into classes into some other area. You know, reducing CCs, reducing super armors, or fixing AP brackets, or fixing the AP scaling of pets, where they actually scale with your AP or something. Like there's so many other things that amount of effort they're putting in Nova could be directed into, that same effort could be directed into more meaningful things.
Didn't she release and like her on guard didn't work if you got hit by a mob or something?
There's still problems with it too.
So like maybe they're not putting. Maybe this is like games that come out now need day one patches. Like holy shit, because they pump out games too quickly, kind of thing.
Well, she's been out for holy shit, like
Still-
2 months.
Still less time than the break between Guardian and Hashishine. So just
Speaking of new class, do you think they're going to release a new class next season?
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My big question in that stream before we went live here was, can they release a class every month instead of every 4 months? I think that would be great.
What is it? I think that's it. Oh, and node word changes. We'll keep mentioning these. We're not going to really cover it in full until they actually finish making them. But they made it where the map, you can now see where the starting locations are when you choose the Node War version of the map. You can now see the starting locations, and you can see every zone will be colored. So, like, let's say someone takes one starting zone, they might be given the pink color, and then every zone they take will be colored pink, so that you can easily determine what they own. Anyways, this is another change. If you want to see it out, you can go to Global Lab and see how they have improved that. I'm a little worried because it looks like right now they're going to have only like 5 or 4 starting places in every region, and that does not seem like enough starting locations for guilds, unless I'm not understanding how this is working. So that was one of the concerns I had from seeing it this week.
No, that'll be enough.
Yeah. Anyway, that is it for Global Lab and BDO. We have some news about New World. They released a new trailer updating what they've been working on and how they plan to handle the game. That included a new region with new mob types, a new race there and everything. They're also including dungeons, which they're calling Dungeons Expeditions. They're going to be 5-man. and they're working on filling those out right now.
So you know how earlier we were talking about how games used to have creativity and imagination, and like people used to think outside the box and try to get their players to experience worlds in new ways, and then that has devolved into like the short order cook. Here's the recipe. You have to follow this. Don't come up with anything new.
Yep.
Yeah, New World is wow. They devolved real fast from the first category into the second category, didn't they?
Yeah.
Real. I don't think I've seen a plummet this rapid in any game. Really, like there's games that started off as short order cooks, but New World really started off with something unique and just like it is all recipe now, baby. There is no innovation happening in that game.
Well, because aren't they going to be publishing Lost Ark?
Yep.
And so they're probably focusing their efforts on that, realizing that New
Oh,
World
that's
is...
a completely different set of people. You think the game devs who are making New World have anything to do with the people who are publishing Lost Ark?
I don't think
That's
it's necessarily a team, but I think the focus
not even in the
is...
same building, dude.
Sure, but
No.
I think that the focus and what they want to put their money in definitely isn't...
They're putting a lot of focus into turning this into a cookie cutter MMO game.
Yeah, they want to make it where they can get a return on their investment, guaranteed, you know, rather than a chance.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because the original game had a lot of promise, but needed a lot of work, but had a lot of promise, and I think they've lost that now. I mean, it'll just be another cookie cutter experience as far as MMOs. It'll be something you play, enjoy, and you're done with, right? For better or
This
worse.
is true, but Amazon was also going to be publishing a Lord of the Rings MMO. I don't know if that was a rumor or if that was real.
God.
But like, so basically, what I was told was New World is their test realm of like, okay, can we make an MMO? Do we have the team and ability to do this? And the Lord of the Rings MMO is supposed to be the real thing. It's like, okay, guys, here's our real try. I don't know.
I could see that. I mean, I don't. It would be hard to know what their true intention is, but I could see something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't care how bad this game is, as long as you can still flag up and that like territory taking system still exists. I'm gonna be such a toxic fuck, and I'm gonna have so much fucking fun farming these little soft snowflake. I have never played an MMO game because it was promoted on my
Oh, Tim,
Amazon Prime account.
got some bad news for you.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know it said it that I'm not allowed to be toxic, right?
No, it's even worse. They changed Node Wars to Outpost Rush. We don't know the full details of what that means, but it's been changed. They have like a little trailer. There is similarities to the original game mode, but it's been changed fundamentally.
Like the 2020 thing where
Yeah,
Oh,
they've changed it in some fundamental way. I think you can probably still get your enjoyment out of it, but it's a big question mark now rather than a guarantee. So
I'm gonna put my mark on this game. I don't care what they fucking do to it. I'm gonna use my proximity microphone and I'm going to put my fucking mark on this game. Aftershock is gonna roll up, fuck shit up, and then leave.
Well, your
I don't
opportunity
care.
to
I don't
do so will begin July 20th for the closed beta, and the full release is currently scheduled for August 31st.
Hold your breath.
So, yeah, we'll see if that happens. Hopefully they do a closed beta and they don't go, oh my, we need another year. But we'll see.
Yeah, play New World, enjoy that until you're like bored of it. Then play Ashes of Creation, and then you're bored of that. And then I'm pretty sure at that point,
I'm gonna completely quit BDO for New World, and I will be the #1 New World streamer ever.
I'm waiting for it. I actually think that, speaking of Ashes of Creation, I think that actually has some longevity to it.
God.
Yeah. I'm still waiting. I cannot wait for next month. Next month is when they are doing their early open preview thing. And that's when I get $20 from Tim.
I'm only gonna give it to you during an infinite stream, though.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Well, that's actually 2 hours. Well, okay, we'll work out.
What do you owe money again?
Tim said that if the game ever comes out in any capacity, he'll give me $20, and if it actually comes out in full release and is okay, then he'll give me an extra $80 for a total of $100.
Oh, I mean, the game's definitely going to come out. It's just going to be the same as every
Well,
other.
it also has to be somewhat decent, right? It cannot be a complete pile of shit.
Right. It can't be Final Fantasy 14 before A Realm Reborn.
Yeah, I guess that's a fair analogy. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I don't think it's going to be a BDO killer or anything like that. It doesn't have the combat that it needs. Same thing with like that's one thing I realized playing this game, Valheim. That I'm currently playing. It's the combat. I just miss BDO's combat. I miss the agility, the action play style of it. It definitely has its place. You know, there's definitely people who like the slower play style and stuff, but I miss the faster play style of BDO. It's like it's a mandatory requirement for a game to be on my like favorites for MMOs. You know, not saying I can't enjoy a game like New World or something, but it won't be quite enough for me.
So when are we playing HOTS, Marlon?
Dude, HOTS is fun.
I know. I've been
the storm.
IRL friends, man. We played last night again too.
Very, very fun game.
I've got some time to play HOTS now. I'm done with Valheim for a
Yeah?
bit. So, yeah, we might be able to play some HOTS this weekend.
Yeah, I'll be around. I'm gonna play off stream tonight, but I'll hit you up, and then tomorrow I'll be around all day.
I don't know if you're ready for the people you're gonna match with if you queue with me, dude.
I play with some gamers, man. I'll be okay.
Actually, I'm pretty sure my MMR is decayed to 0 because I haven't logged in like a year or more.
They just go off like character ratings. There's basically is no MMR unless you do ranked.
There's no MMR at all for quick match. I could have sworn
I think so.
there was like a hidden MMR.
If
Yeah.
there's not enough players.
Yeah, because there's one
true,
time I got like
true.
level 80 or something, and someone with like 3,000 levels matched with me. So like I was like, I don't think I have even close to the amount of experience that they have.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Valheim a little bit.
Oh, I guess we're done with HOTS because Potion doesn't play HOTS. Fine.
What is there to say about HOTS? Is it getting an update or something?
No, I just want to give Potion.
Didn't they stop doing all updates to it?
Yeah, that's why I want to play it. I hate games with updates.
I've heard that they stopped updating HOTS like 5 different times. People have told me they stopped updating it, and it keeps getting updated. So
HOTS just came out. They just the new character. I don't know.
It's like a promotional thing. I think the competitive side is what they stopped working on because they fired all of them.
All the tournaments, all the college esports,
They-
really sad stuff.
They fired all of them, and then they gave the CEO a big bonus to compensate him for his great deeds.
I was gonna say if they fired him, the game must be doing pretty well.
Blizzard right now is such a horrible mess. They used to be so cool. They used to be like I'd look at a company and like compare companies and be like, dude, Blizzard's like, man, they're really doing work making games for gamers. And then some of this recent Activision BS stuff over the last like 10, 12 years has been so sad.
Dude, did they announce Burning Crusade?
They're going to. Their BlizzCon just started like 15 minutes ago.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot to talk about BlizzCon and maybe this BDO stream they did today. See if they said anything cool during their hello.
That thing was literally 50 minutes.
Oh well, I guess we won't have much to talk about then.
Yeah, I was like, I had it on in the background. I'm like, they're like, okay, that's it for today. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, they hosted me for 12,000 people. It was really nice of them.
Yo.
Must have heard you talking shit.
But
Saints
Valheim?
were faced out, pussy. Yeah, Valheim. I really want to talk about Valheim. So I feel like I played it right after a podcast last week. And I gotta say, I feel like you oversold it to me a little bit, man.
you just are such a contrarian, dude. You can't like any game that's popular.
Stop calling me a contrarian. I love Among Us,
You're
dude.
the only person I've ever met who hates Hollow Knight. You're now the only person I've ever met
I
who
didn't
hates
say I hated it. You're putting fucking words in my mouth. No wonder you're calling me a fucking contrarian when you just paint this picture of me that doesn't actually
You go
exist.
after games that are like the all-time top 5 for reasons that make no sense. You hated Hollow Knight because it looked like Ori, and you
I
hate
didn't hate it. I just mentioned that it looked like other indie games. I never said I hated it. How could I hate a game that I've never played or even tried?
Okay, now you're backpedaling, dude. You went way
I'm
harder.
not backpedaling. You're making me into a caricature.
Any shitty indie game on Steam that like You had a whole fucking rant about it.
But no. All right,
Now you're
Marlon. It
back.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because Tim did not make what was that tier list. So he actually has to play Hollow Knight now on stream.
I tell you what, I'm gonna catch you in Sakurai, and I'm gonna tell you what I really think of you on stream. That's what's gonna happen now.
So how far did you get in Valheim? Did you make it to the Flint age?
So I was. It made me like make a tool shed or a thing to a workbench, and then it's like you need to have a roof on this, and I'm like, all right. So I try to put a roof. And it's like there's no walls, idiot. You got to put a wall here. And I'm like, okay. And so while I make the most fucked up building in the world, Ishka's next to me building like a Taj Mahal, and I'm like, this game's fucking stupid, and I quit.
Cool, good review. What do you guys think?
So I expected it to have a little bit more polish, I guess, is what I was a little like turned off about. Like the graphics are 0 out of 10. Like looked like they came straight out of 1999. The movement's clunky. The building got worse.
There's no chance that the game is ever that type of game is ever gonna look better than that. Not in recent. Do you know what you can do in that game? You can dig the whole fucking world to pieces. You can build giant structures. Like, the only other game we have that you can do shit like that is like Minecraft or Terraria. Like literal pixel games. What other game can you terraform the whole world? I don't know, like No Man's Sky maybe.
Yeah, No Man's Sky, you can do that.
You can like dig holes and build a big tower in that game. And I mean, it's not like that shit looks like BDO either.
I'm not saying it needs to look like BDO, but those textures were like egregious bad.
I do think the textures are a turnoff, but they grow on you. When I watched somebody play it, I think Marlon was the first one I watched play it. I was like, bro, this looks like some hot shit. What is this? And once I played it though, I should say the longer you play it, the more it kind of grows on you. And even today, I logged into the game today. And I was like, "This looks like shit." And then within 15 minutes, it didn't bother me anymore. Right? It just becomes kind of part of the Minecraft type, the Minecraft effect, right? Where you just kind of get engrossed in the experience.
Yeah, exactly. It's like playing Minecraft. You're not playing it for the graphics. You play fucking Star Wars Galaxies for Christ's sakes. Like
I know.
So what's the issue? You're not playing the game because it's a work of art. It's stylized for what it is. It looks totally fine. Like when I sit up on top of my roof in that game and look out over the water and Ked's ugly fucking wood fort and like all the shit that's in front of my base, I think it looks fucking great. I get a buzz.
I will say that for Tim though, like I do understand that the game at its current state is definitely needs work. Like even for me, the grind becomes like a drag at certain points, and it's not necessarily saying that it's bad or anything. It is a $20 early access game, and then there are some things that come along with that, unfortunately, right?
It's like if you took the fun out of Last Oasis, turned down the graphics, and put in some Minecraft.
I'm shocked that you guys are being so negative. Tim, your opinion literally doesn't count because you didn't even play the game.
Three of my friends have refunded it. I was like, hey, we're all going to kind of play this. Like, let's try to get into it together.
What the hell? Everyone in my stream is obsessed with this game. Like, I haven't had anyone be like, oh, I refunded this shit. You're the first person I've heard say anything like that.
The thing is that it's an early access.
It's out of nowhere. They've sold 3 million copies in the first week and a half. It's the 7th most streamed game on Twitch. And it was made by like 3 guys in their mom's basement, dude.
I think for $20 as an early access game, it's a good value. But there are people who just don't like early access or the quality of a $20 game at early access.
Right. And that's me.
Yeah.
This game is easily worth $60. I would have paid $60 for this game twice, and then I would have paid another $60 for DLC when they do the next update. It is the best $20 I've spent in years. You guys are fucking insane.
Well, you enjoy a particular style of game, though, right? And to assume that everyone else would enjoy the same style of game that you enjoy, I think
everyone else does enjoy it. You guys are the only ones who are being negative about it.
No, I don't think it's a bad game. I've put in probably like 50 plus hours into the game. I actually really enjoy the game, but I can I'm in the middle ground as far as enjoyment goes. I would not rate this game a 10 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10. I'd probably put it like a 6 to 7, and then I see it probably improving into somewhere around like a 9 in the long run. That's not a problem. That's an early access $20 game. That is a very good rating compared to other AAA games I get the same experience from.
I feel financially irresponsible for not refunding it.
I played. I'm just trying to control now, but
I'm not. I'm being honest.
Okay. Well, I got 80 hours out of this game for $20. Even with some major flaws, like I'm absolutely not trying to sit here and say the game is perfect in any way.
Sure.
There's a lot of things that they can do to improve the game. Even with all of its major flaws, the game is like a 9.7. And if they actually fix shit and like have the game flesh out, use the $100 million or whatever that they made to reinvest and grow this game, like we're looking at a potential like GOAT. We're looking at a game that could grow into something that just shatters and literally like starts a new genre, like starts a new Valheim like genre. If they put some of this money back into the game, add some more biomes, fix some of the quality of life stuff, improve performance, like if they actually polish this game to a AAA standard or even like halfway to a AAA standard, the potential here is literally fucking endless. Like I can't believe how good of a job such a small limited team has done with this game. The potential is fucking infinite, dude.
Like let me kind of break down, like at least so I can put some context to my gripes, right? Rather than just say "rrr." My kind of thoughts on it is like basically the experience boils down to this. You start the game, you gear up, you fight boss, then you restart all your gear again, then you fight another boss, then you restart all your gear again, you fight a boss, restart your gear all again, fight a boss. And that's a completely fine and a fun experience for the game. But there is definitely not the polish that some people enjoy. And some people don't enjoy games unless they have a polish. And I think that's where this game falls short right now. And I think that some people don't care about the polish. They care about the gameplay more than anything else, and so it doesn't matter if the polish is a little lacking when the gameplay is there. And I'm kind of in the middle. I like a little bit of polish, but I like a lot of gameplay too. And some people just like just pure polish, and they want it the full package. And it just depends on who you are. And that's where kind of my gripe comes from, is because I feel like I've played the same game 3 times now, and I'm working on my 4th time. You know?
Did you ever play Terraria?
I played a little bit of Terraria, but not a whole lot.
So you didn't like that game either?
That was mainly just the stylized graphics were the thing I didn't like in that. It wasn't I think the actual gameplay loop was really good.
What about you, Tim? Did you play Terraria?
No, I didn't. I played there was 2 games that came. I think Starbound came out like at a rough time at the same time as that. So I played like some weird offshoot of that, and I did enjoy that game. I do enjoy those types of games. I want to preface this. That was my mentality. I'm not in the mood for that type of game, but I do want to play it with you and your community. I don't want to I can't sit down and play a game like that by myself. I'm in a mood right now where I want games with more action. Like I've been like wanting to sit down and play Apex Legends or something. Like I just want to shoot stuff. I just want to get into things. I don't want to have like some slow, violin in the background playing game. I feel like I've got enough of that going on. So like when I booted up the game and I saw like how it kind of played, I was like, maybe if I was like up to speed with Moreland and stuff, I'd continue to, like if I had a group to play it with, but I'm not gonna solo that game or anything like that. So when you said that you're gonna do like different servers or rules or do some PvP or something like that, making your own content and shit like that, that sounds way better to me. Way better.
Yeah, that's kind of the stuff I'm talking about too. Like if you look at what modders in the community have done with Terraria, I mean, some of the new scenarios that they've come up with that game, it's almost like an entirely new game. And like Valheim is the foundation for that. That's why I'm looking at this like not just in terms of what it has right now, although even what it has right now, like for $20, you cannot get a better value on Steam for $20 than Valheim. Like
I think that's
insane.
true.
It's
Probably
insane
not.
it's insane how much value I got out of this game, and I'm going to continue to get. And once the community gets a hold of it, like there's already people who are modding, like quality of life things, like the quick stack function from Terraria, where your stuff just goes into nearby chests and you don't have to like open each one individually. Someone already made a mod that does that. Like, so the quality of life stuff is going to get taken care of either by the devs or the community. If they can just improve like the combat and the the optimization and stuff like that, so you can have more people in the same area. There's crazy PvP scenarios you can come up with. There's crazy like hard mode scenarios you can come up with. I mean, we're looking at a foundation that can grow into really, like I said, really its own genre of game. Like it's not even just going to be one game. It's going to be a bundle of a million different things that are going to fit different people's play styles. You can have people who just want to build and create. You can have PvPers who want to do like a Hunger Games, scenario where it's like last man surviving wins, which is probably something we're going to do. You can have people who just want to do like action and fight bosses, and they can have a hard mode where they have to go and like, really like master the mechanics and dodge shit because the boss will one shot you. Like there's so many different ways that you can play this game. And a lot of it is already there, and even though it's super early in the development, and you can tell these devs, like when you look at their roadmap, there's like 3 or 4 things in the roadmap where it's like, here's what we're going to finish in before full release, and then there's like 10 other things where they're like, if Odin wills it. And so that's the list of things where like, well, maybe if the game does well and we get enough money, we can do that. They've now completely blown away, I'm sure, any expectation they had of how well the game was going to do. They're easily going to be able to fund all the stuff on the roadmap and 10 times more than that. Like, I don't know. I haven't been this excited for like where a game could go in, I don't even know, dude, a decade. Like, I'm super fucking hyped for the future of Valheim.
Yeah, I think the potential for the game is really large. I feel like this game is like, how do I say it? It's like the feeling I got when I played BDO for the first time. I was like, this has some crazy potential, but actually now it's a developer team that doesn't care about money, or they have enough to do what they want to do, and that's what I see like this game going in the future. I feel like if BDO wasn't so money driven, I feel like Valheim's going to take the path that BDO would have taken, right? I see that type of level of, potential in it.
It's so humble to charge $20 for a game like this, dude. Like I really feel like they could have charged 60. It just goes to show their mindset. Like it's a small indie studio who didn't even know if they were going to be able to fund their full roadmap. Now they've sold 3 million copies at $20 each in the first week of the game. That's going to keep going up. Like these, I don't know. I think it's going to be great. I'm really excited.
Absolutely.
Humble.
Now, have you taken a look at the roadmap yet?
Yeah, I looked at it yesterday after we beat the last boss.
I haven't looked at it yet. So could you lead us through what that is and what your thoughts are on it?
So there's new biomes. That's the most obvious thing. Right now, the game essentially has 5 biomes plus 3 that are incomplete. So they're going to flesh out the 3 incomplete ones. They're going to do more upgrades to housing in terms of like different designs and styles and furniture and all that. So you can get more creative because some of the bases people have built. I mean, you guys are saying this game doesn't have good graphics. I don't know, dude. If you go on Reddit and look at some of the bases people have built, and then you tell me this game doesn't have good graphics, like
go walk up to a tree and then look up. That's all you got to do, and then you'll feel the pain that people who say it has bad graphics.
I mean, it's a voxel game. It's stylized. I get it. It doesn't look like the Mona Lisa, but like if you go look at some of the shit people are already building in this game, it's unbelievable considering how limited your tools for building like currently are. Yeah. They're gonna do a big boat update, so like more sea monsters and more boats and shit like that, which is super
so you can
cool.
Fall off the flat Earth again.
Yeah, that I'm not a fan of.
Super funny though.
The sailing in that game, super comfy. Like if they add sea monsters and new boats and shit, like again, sky's the limit with that kind of content. And then they said multiplayer enhancements. I'm not sure what that means. Hopefully, it means better netcode. Yeah, that is, I would say, the game's number one flaw right now is that you really cannot have 10 people in one area together. The game just lags too hard. And Terraria was kind of the same way. When we had like a dozen people playing Terraria, it was kind of a shit show. We couldn't really, we kept desyncing. So I hope they figure that out because that's the thing I think holding the game back. But yeah, I don't remember what else was on there.
Are there any like really big plans for it, like a Castle Wars or like multiplayer PvP or anything like that?
Castle Wars?
I don't know. Like I feel like that's one thing that a lot of people think of when they think of a survival game. They think of like Rust, or they think of something like that, where you have like a survival element, a PvP element to it.
I don't know how a castle war would work, but I mean, I'm sure
whatever.
there's PvP scenarios you can create. Like I think doing the Hunger Games scenario that we're trying to come up with rules for could be really good. The main thing is like right now it's a little bit limited in terms of you being able to set your own rules and admin tools and stuff like that. Um, but once that expands, yeah, I think there's all kinds of cool PvP scenarios you can come up with. They need to improve the combat a bit too, though. Like,
Yeah.
it's sort of like chunky Dark Souls right now. Like, if they could make it smoother and um, make it feel more like actual Dark Souls, then I think that would be really promising.
Well, I think that's about all I have. What do you guys want to talk about?
How beautiful you are.
Is it the beard?
Yeah, it is. No, I'm looking forward to like I didn't want to pioneer that game, and I'm not caught up over the graphics or anything. I bought it to play with some friends, and that's basically it. So once we get to that part of it, and I'm like actually able to have fun with it, I'll be looking forward to it. But I don't disagree with you on the potential of the game, but that's a dangerous place for a very small company to be in. So hopefully they can come through with this roadmap and some of the stuff, but do they have the infrastructure for that and all that kind of stuff?
It's always possible that they triple the team size and the whole thing collapses when they spread themselves too thin. But
Right.
I think the game does have like a really good foundation for early access to where like it's pretty easy to move forward from here without fucking things up if they just stick to the formula they already have, make it run better, smooth out the combat. Like that's all they got to do at this point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then, easy clap.
I'm looking forward to them developing those art biomes because you know that they have some good ideas that they had to go thin on, like maybe some of the dungeon implementations or some of the ideas they had for like different weapons or item combinations and stuff, and they'll be able to fully flesh those out now without having to worry about it.
There's not, I think one of the biggest things, like it's not a fast-paced game, if you're looking for something like Apex, obviously it's not that. I think the biggest thing that really like hooked me was the sense of immersion that I got playing, like the sense of discovery that I got playing the game. I don't get that from games very often anymore. Like the sense where I really want to see like what's next or what else is out there, or just be completely baffled about what possibilities there might even be and completely like surprised by something. That just really does not happen that often anymore. And with Valheim, it was happening left and right.
True. I feel like Valheim and Hades, right, were two games that were like, hey, here's a genre that's like really good, and they really nailed the all of it. Like both of them are really good games.
I looked at Super Giant Games for Hades, and they have such a good like backlog of games that they've created. That were just like they were like revolutionary in the time that they came out.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what comes up next for it. It'll be some time. How long do you think development process will take for them to do like things like this? Do you know how long?
So I don't know if this is true, but apparently development started in 2019. And if that's the case, I mean,
Wow.
that's staggering for how much they were able to accomplish in that short of a time.
Dang. So that would be 2 biomes a year. Plus all the...
I don't think they need to just pump out more biomes. I think like 8 biomes is a pretty solid map.
Like BDO or something, like new characters
Yeah.
every so often.
New same thing. Yeah, I don't think they need to pump out new biomes every year. I think they need to just keep getting creative in terms of like adding unique things, events, just like more areas of customization, more modes, whether it's like a creative mode or like a PvP elimination mode. Like there's a lot of sideways rather than just like churning out the same climb the same ladder to a higher and higher rung. There's a lot of different directions they can take it, and I think they probably know that. Like, I think they have a lot of good ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's all I got. I think we covered a lot of other games this podcast. It was pretty nice. Anybody else have anything else they want to discuss? Blonde, you got anything you're sitting on you want to talk about, buddy?
Nothing really. I'm really just like paddocks, work, sleep. Like, it's really all it is right now for me. I mean, I'm waiting for the transfer, waiting for the partner program stuff to go through, see what that's going to be like. But, I mean, here in Florida, people don't follow any COVID rules, so it's like still trying to limit my access to going outside because, I mean, it's just still running rampant. So, yeah, nothing really different. Watch a lot of movies. Stuff I've been watching, like shows wise. They added all of Modern Family to Hulu, and I think it's one of the funniest shows ever. I don't know what about it, but the humor hits me. So,
I've been watching Mandalorian and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is a really interesting combination.
So funny.
I love that show.
Mandalorian's great, but Brooklyn Nine-Nine is so funny. Oh, such a good one.
I've been watching Love on the Spectrum, and can I relate to that?
What?
You haven't seen Love on the Spectrum, dude?
What's it about?
It's a documentary about people on the spectrum who are trying to date and find relationships.
Oh.
Dude, I can't believe you guys haven't seen this show. You have to see this show.
I literally eat, sleep, play BDO, repeat. And when I'm not doing that, I'm like trying to figure out what anime or other game to play.
Oh. I have Polo Born Fly wants me to watch like a couple of, have I brought that up? Wants me to watch a couple episodes of anime and then like report back my thoughts on it. And then they're going to laugh at me on his podcast, his anime podcast.
There's some good anime out there.
Yeah. Not enough for them to justify watching it 24/7. That's for sure, though.
All I've ever seen is like English dubbed DBZ and Gundam Wing from Tsunami when I was 2.
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, like Neon Genesis Evangelion, like some old classics. They're so good.
I don't think hentai counts as
Did you guys know that Honey Pop 2 just recently came out?
What did?
Honey Pop 2.
I don't know what that is.
It's a puzzle game.
Oh.
Yeah. It came out.
That makes you think. That's like doing Lucky Arrows or whatever.
Yeah.
Lucky Arrows.
Very popular puzzle game. Its puzzles are really good.
I play Guardian.
That's the response to puzzle games.
I play Guardian.
All right, well, that's about all I got.
Wait, is that a hentai puzzle game? Was that a joke that we missed?
What? No.
Is this Potion pretending that he doesn't like hentai? Oh, I don't. What's that? I've never heard of that.
Bro, you think I actually do anything other than play video games and watch anime?
Did you just come out as asexual? We need to end this podcast. So that's it for Nerds and Words episode 33, a very special episode. Before we call it all the way out, if you guys get some special content on your channel over the next week here or so that you would like to voice out, Blonde Bear, you doing any streaming this week? You got anything cool going on?
I'm hoping to get over this cold, and if I do, I will be streaming Paddocks Island. I'm always looking for a partner in the middle of the night when nobody's around. So
I think you'll get over the cold. I believe in you.
I hope so, dude. It sucks.
Moreland, what's going on your channel this week?
Probably getting back into BDO. We might set up some PvP scenarios in Valheim, but yeah, lots of enhancing on BDO. Trying to get set up for T10 horse attempts if I can get some of this stuff sold. Going for Penkutum and that kind of thing.
Oh, you don't have Penkutum yet?
No, I'm working on it right now. I've got a 200 stack that keeps going up.
Yeah.
We're also doing the charity for St. Jude, so we've raised 22,000 so far out of a goal of 10,000. Started a couple days ago. We got big donations from Cacao and Pearl Abyss, so we're going to continue.
can do that. Did they donate more than cacao?
Yeah.
Yeah,
double.
they went up
I
to
knew they were gonna do that.
Yeah, at first they were saying that it was like too short notice to get involved, but then they got involved anyways. So good for them.
Yeah.
That's been pretty cool. We're gonna keep pushing that for until Tuesday, and then there's a tournament on Tuesday with a bunch of the streamers where we're gonna do a 2v2, I think, tournament. So that'll be Tuesday night.
Oh, cool. I'll be there.
Yep.
Should be fun.
Invited. Potion, did I ask you?
Nope.
Oh, what are you doing this week, Potion?
For me, I'm going to be trying to push towards 380 gear score. That's not right. 680 gear score. And then trying to plan out if I want to go for Fallen God after that or C20. It's right now the Caphras is just too good to kind of pass up on the savings you get for going for C20. But technically the best thing to go right now is for Fallen God after I get C9. Like even with the low price of Caphras. So I have to debate that this week while we're going for 380 gear score and getting all those C9s. So that's the plan for me this week.
Very cool. As for me, I just hit C9, so I'm happy there. I'm probably going to do a little enhancing after the transfer. But as always, I appreciate you guys' time. I love doing this podcast. And on behalf of, what am I doing? I'm probably just going to keep grinding. I'm actually having fun grinding BDO for the first time in a while. So a little bit of Star Wars, a little bit of BDO. I did rejoin Null, and we're going to start doing Node Wars a week from today. We're going to do T1 Node Wars back with the Null boys. So I'm really excited for that.
Nodes are not working next week.
Nodes are not working next week. I'm going to let them know that. So we're not doing a node next week. Okay. Well, I'll be looking forward to it the week after.
So all nodes are breaking. Can confirm.
Yeah, they're not going to have them active next week.
So that means
That
poly
makes-
workers are actually going to break.
Oh my god.
No, those are two separate things. Stop saying workers are going to break. Fake news.
I mean, I'm just saying it's a possibility they could break. That's a better way of wording it.
Yes, it is.
All right, guys.
Oh, maybe they won't save your gear either.
On behalf of Blonde Bear, Moreland TV, Potion Shop TV, I'm Tim Allen 1337. Thanks for watching episode 33 of Nerds and Words. Catch us on Spotify and Potion Shop's YouTube to catch up on previous episodes. We're live on Twitch on Moreland, maybe Potion Shop, and definitely Tim Allen's Twitch at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific every Friday. Thanks again for your viewership. Hope you have an excellent day and enjoy the podcast. We'll catch you next week.